Good Sunday evening, everybody. What is up? Thank you, Mr. Red Jack. By the way, I know you're probably not here right now, but thanks so much, Brian. Everybody, please send some good wishes over to Mrs. Red Jack's, his mom, not his wife. His mom's not feeling too well right now. He's got to take care of her. He's her only caretaker, and he's still got to go out to work. So please keep her in your thoughts. Hope you're both doing well, Brian, and I hope to see you back soon. Hey, Marcus, what is up? And I was about to say, hey, Ranga, what is up? Leaving comments. But Paulie P, what is up, dude? Rick, good to see you as usual. Hobby Halbert. Vivian, my wife, how you doing? What are you doing in the chat? What's up? Dwayne's a pain. The Ascani son in the house. What is up? Arwin, what are you doing there? Comic Art Boston, thank you for showing up, sir. I appreciate it. Hey, oh my God. Jason Hussa in the hizzy. Wow. I've been waiting for this. Been waiting for this a long time, man. Glad to see you finally here. Hopefully you can stick around. CJ, what is up? And Michael McIsaac. Good to see you guys. Well, thanks for tuning in as usual, everybody. I appreciate it. I think we're going to have a really fun show tonight. Some of you have been wondering. I've actually gotten some emails asking me what, people who know me, who know I don't collect commissions. And so they're emailing me saying, well, why are you doing a commission-based show? And it's kind of like, it fascinates me because of the fact that I don't do them. And I don't do them for a myriad of reasons, but those reasons are the same reasons that other people sort of, commission collectors can sort of get through. They put certain things aside and they're able to still sort of continue commission collecting. And I'm just fascinated by what it is that they have that I don't have that doesn't allow me to be able to do it. And aside from that, I love these guys. They're cool. They're fun spirited. So that's another good reason to do this. But I really want to get into the nitty gritty of it all. So why don't we just get into it? Tam D1 evening. What is up? So let me introduce you to my guests. First we have the longest, I guess, tenured member of the group tonight, I do believe, by quite a long margin, but I guess he'll tell us in a moment. We've got Ryan Jablonski.
Hey, what's going on?
How's it going, man?
Very good, very good. Thanks for having me.
Good. No, my pleasure. Believe me. Next into the studio, we have somebody you're all probably familiar with. He's made a few online appearances already in the last several months. Well, probably not in a few months, but you all know him. He's a cool dude. He's got his own podcast, by the way, which you can all look in the. I got a ton of links down below in the not comment section, the description of the video underneath. Let's have him in here. That is Derek WC. I don't know if you wanted to go by WC or Derek. Do you go? By the way, is it Crab or Krabby?
It's Crab. So it's like Buster Crab. So that's usually what I tell people, right? Like just like Buster Crab.
Buster Crab, it is. Good to have you, man.
Yeah, good to be here, man.
Cool. And last but not least, we have what is happening down there? We have I thought we were gonna have the Hit Monkey. Something weird's happening, so I don't know what to say. So I'm not gonna introduce a name. I'll bring him in. I'll see what the hell, and he'll show you what he's trying to do. What do we have here?
Oh no, I was just like, what, are you guys having a show? What? Busy. Hey guys, what's up?
What is up, Iranga? Good to have you, man.
Yeah,
you kind
of ruined my entrance, man, because I was gonna like slide in, and you're like, I don't know what this jackass is doing.
You should have at least planned it ahead of time. I was like, what the hell are you doing?
I forget you can see the green room. So I was like,
yeah.
All right. Well, that didn't play out the way I wanted it to.
That's the thing. Eric Loretto, how you doing? No, not Aranga. I don't know. He hates you, I guess.
He's one of your Canadian brethren, man. I mean,
really?
Take him with a pinch of salt.
Hey, Hart, what is up? Good to see you, man. So, all right, everybody. So as you probably saw on the the show graphic. I asked here, actually, let me, for those of you who may not have seen it, I can't imagine. Let me just pop it up real quick. All right. The subtitle for tonight's episode is Commission Collecting, Fun, Challenging, Masochistic, or all of the above. And of course, it's somewhat tongue in cheek, of course. But I personally believe there is certainly truth to all of those, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I just really wanted to sort of ask all my guests tonight a little bit about that whole thing, about, the pros, the cons, and look, all these guys love to do commissions and get commissions, and that's great. But as a non-commission guy myself, I just really I'm fascinated, like I've said. So I want to get into it and ask these guys questions about what is it that makes them tick and continue with this stuff. And actually, one of my guests, Derek, we've been speaking recently privately, and he actually mentioned he may not quite be considered a commission collector anymore, or at least maybe perhaps not much longer. Did I have that?
I think I'll still get commissions here and there, but I mean, you wanted to talk about kind of the, everything's a risk, right? I mean, I guess I'd just say up front, like, I enjoy collecting commissions. I'm always happy with what I end up getting, but I want to say to everybody, I feel like I've been super fortunate, right? Like I told you, I don't feel like, I mean, there are people I've heard where, essentially they got burned, right? And what you mean by that is, they were promised a commission, they paid good money, and they never got it, and they never got the money returned, right? So like that, I'm just saying, I've been very, very lucky. Like, some of it I walked into completely blind, and luckily people had, great reps, great artists, everybody was professional, everybody took care of me. Or sometimes there were cases where I thought about commissioning somebody, and then either through, the grapevine or through Facebook groups or chats or whatever it is, you find out, oh, wow, like, I dodged a bullet, So I guess I would just say, I feel like I've been fortunate, and maybe I don't want to keep pushing my luck too much. Like, maybe I want to hang on to my good fortune, right? Like that it's I have a, I'm not good with sports analogies, but I've got that winning streak record, and I don't want to, mess up my championship ring for commissions, like that. That's kind of where my headspace is at.
But you know what's interesting about that is that, see, for me, because when you said that, I was like, oh, it's got to be because he's been cutting it close lately, and he's had a few close calls that have scared him off. But you're saying you don't want to. You've had a good streak, and you want to maybe stop because you just want to keep it a good streak.
Well, look, I'll tell people this, like if people want to ask me personally what my experiences are, like, I'm not here to, I don't know, throw anybody under the bus or talk trash, but if you ask me, like I didn't understand what your initial email was when you sent it to me. Like, to be perfectly honest, I thought maybe, like, in the back of my head, I was like, is Ruben going to try to start doing, like, commissions with Perkins? Like, is he asking me my opinion as a consumer, like what I would like? And so that's kind of why I gave you the rundown. And Ruben can tell anybody that's listening to this or that's on the chat or whatever, like, I gave him a very unfiltered, unplugged history of all my commission experiences. And if somebody asks me, hey, what did you think of X artist, I'm happy to talk to somebody one-on-one and say, this is my experience, it was fantastic, this is my experience, everything was very professional, but at the end of the day I was disappointed because of Y and Z, and that's basically as far as it's gotten. And to your point, like, yeah, maybe some of the commissions I've gotten, there was that extended, I was disappointed because of Y and Z, right? Yeah. But maybe the professionalism was all above board, or it could be the other way where, you were super thrilled with what you got, right, but you decide, look, I don't want to go through that again because I was on pins and needles the whole time, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be that next guy that got burned and had that streak come to a fiery crash end, right? Like, so that's all. You know.
Okay. Let me just quickly put up this question. CJ, by the way, good evening, CJ. Good to see you as usual. So stupid question. There are no stupid questions, especially if you're not really into. Certainly not tonight if you're not into collecting commissions. But don't art collectors collect both? I don't think it's stupid, but I have to say it is a curious question. Why would you think that art collectors collect both? I mean,
well, I do. Derek,
no, but
Yeah.
some certainly do. But I would think that it's a safe thing to say the majority of published art collectors do not also collect commissions. I think that's a pretty accurate statement.
I would add a caveat to that. I would say the majority of published art collectors who've been in the game for a long time don't collect both. At least that's the experience that I've had, right? And I think a lot of that comes down to, as again, completely my opinion, and from what I'm seeing with my interactions, is I don't think it necessarily has to do today with poor experiences. Yes, of course, poor experiences play into it, but we've come to a point now today where the cost of a commission, the values that you get out of it, then when you think about the secondary market and valuation, future valuation, people are having to make decisions like, do I still collect? I mean, there's these things are going into 4 figures now, commission, right? And, do I buy this or do I buy a published page that all indications and trends show will go up in value at some point? To me, it's like the experience in the game. I don't know how Jabo feels about it.
Yeah, no, well, obviously, Rank, I know we've actually had this conversation before. We're very like-minded when it comes to it. I've been doing this a long time, so I started as kind of both in like the small fish type ways, but when I started collecting those 2004, so like most commissions were free. And like the average
whoa, man! I gotta. Sorry, and I should have told you guys before the show started. I like interruptions and interjections, so excuse me for doing it. But sorry. So you said you got into 2004.
Yeah.
Okay, and what did you say right after that? Because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, when I started going to conventions, a lot of the and I'm not talking about.
You said free?
Oh yeah, free. Yeah, it's
you're talking about those like. The little quickie 2-minute, what we used to call 2-minute sketches.
Yeah, I know, but it was like I would say what they would like a modern headshot or bust would be. We'll say like a modern, maybe like in that 150, 200 range.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're primarily free.
For free?
I mean, you want interjections? Like I can be honest. Like besides little like remarks and things that I've got done for free at shows and stuff. I mean, I have a whole story on the Dan Jurgens Superman con sketch I have. It wasn't anything I asked for. It was sort of like I went to a panel. I asked a question he really liked, and that was my prize for asking like a really fascinating question, and that was something where, it's like, that's, it was my joke. I think on the weekly flip, I was like, my first taste was free, but everything else is going to cost money, right? And that's just how it is. And the thing I was thinking of when you were talking about, art, published art collectors versus commission collectors and things like that. I mean, in some sense, I mean, and this may ruffle feathers, and I'm not naming names or trying to trash anybody, but there's an air of elitism to certain things, right? Like where,
Did you say elitism?
Yeah, like that, if I only collect published art, or I only collect published Marvel art, or I only collect, whatever it is, right? Then that somehow makes someone a better collector than someone who gets the same enjoyment out of, getting a bunch of commissions and stuff,
Absolutely.
right? And so to me, I mean, it's like, I can appreciate if somebody decides, look, I got burned, doing commissions, and I feel more comfortable when there's work that's done in advance, right? Speaking
of, Hart, I didn't even know you did commissions. But guys, I love you. I love you guys in the chat, because what I'm seeing is I'm keeping an eye on you guys, and I'm seeing positive comment, negative comment, positive comment, and that's what it's all about. That's the precise reason to answer that question from before about people asking me, why are you doing a show about this? You don't do commissions. Who cares? Why do you care, right? But this is why I care, because I find it fascinating. There's pros and cons to it all, a lot of them on both sides of the issue, and I want to hear them all from these guys' point of view, because I've got my own point of view, right? So
yeah, Ruben, here's kind of where we are, like with like the pros and cons thing, right? Like everyone has a different threshold for risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
There's some people that want to mitigate it or completely take it out of the process, so they'll buy. You know, I know published art collectors that will buy a commission, but on the secondary market, because they can see what it is.
Oh,
they already have an idea of it, etc.
Let me interject again, because see, for me, there's a distinction there. For me, there's different types of collectors, right? Like you're a published art collector, or you are when I say commission collector, I guess there's a fine line, but when I think of commission collectors, I primarily refer to people who they themselves commission. They are the commissioners, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I feel, because of the reason that what you just said, it's completely different. It's a separate sub-segment of the collectors who are then, guys who collect commissions that are already done for that reason, because there's no risk, right? The risk is gone. They already
take it out of it.
It's like, right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm strange, but I mean, if I spoke for myself personally, I feel like I do have examples of what you spoke of, commissions, I guess, but that were pre-done and maybe had a lack of risk. But if I was going to be perfectly honest with everybody, I think I value those less than the ones that I commission myself, right? Because, it makes me think of, what Mandel was saying, that we're all, I don't know, secret failed artists, and we all want to get the creative juices pumping, whether you buy published pages or whatever. And there's that aspect where you get to be Jim Shooter, or you get to be the editor or something like that, right? Like that, you wanted to know what the positives were, like what you get into, right? And that's, I mean, I know everybody,
I know the positive. I mean, obviously, like, I'm not, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to understand what positive, the joy.
Right.
I understand that. It's just, I guess for me, the biggest sort of thing that I've always sort of struggled with understanding is like, for those collectors out there, those commission collectors who are the commissioners themselves, right? For those specifically who have been burned, not once, but especially more than once, right? And yet they continue, like they put it aside. They have the ability to put that aside, and somehow they just go on to the next artist, or and it's like, how do you do that? Because for me, I just know myself. I know the first time you fuck me, I am going to be so pissed. It's never going to happen again. You understand? Sorry, salty language, but I'm going to be so done with it. I could never do it again. I would never allow myself to do that.
But why does that only apply to commissions? I mean, you had to have gotten fucked by a deal that was something published sometime, right? I mean,
I honestly can't say that I have, unless you're talking about the occasional horrific packaging job, let's say, right? That's
okay.
But how else would you sort of get screwed by a dealer or another collector?
Non-disclosures.
Yeah,
you're buying a blue line.
Yeah.
Blue line versus pencils and inks and stuff like that. I mean, there's the same thing. I'm not saying it's the same thing. But yes, there's definitely an aspect of it where you can get burned. You can get burned and if you're buying published work directly from an artist. Can I just say one thing real quick? Paul has asked this question twice now. Paul, I think I kind of agree with you, Paul Papas.
Which one? If you buy a commission?
Yeah. So I think there's two main subsets we're talking about, right? We're talking about published art and unpublished art, right? And then underneath the unpublished art is the two categories where you're the first person that commissioned it, or you're buying it on the secondary market. So yeah, at that point, it's not necessarily a commission. You're kind of lucky if it's exactly what you were looking for. It's exactly what you would have commissioned from the artist. I've gone that route instead of commissioning an artist. When I saw a piece, for example, like I collect a lot of cable art, right? Like as one of my go-to collecting themes. I'll see a great cable done by an artist, and I'm like, okay, shit, that's what I was gonna commission anyway. Boom. There it is. It happens every now and then. I've gotten lucky to find some on eBay, off dealers, etc. But yeah, Paul, I mean, we're kind of getting into technicalities at that point. But I think the broader categories are published versus unpublished. You've let someone else take the risk. You buy it off the secondary market. It's like, never buy a brand new car, buy it used, right?
Yeah. So CJ, I just, if you can clear up the question though, CJ, because so if you go to Berkey, you buy a Ramita piece that was commissioned, and I don't know what the question in there is. So here's the thing, because if you're talking about what Paul was talking about, then see, my answer to Paul's question is it's kind of like both, right? Like, because by the time it gets to that dealer, right, the dealer doesn't care. He got it as part of a larger deal, whatever. Now he's selling it. So technically you can say, yeah, it's an unpublished pinup, but if he happens to remember who sold it to him or traded it to him or whatever, and he knows the story behind it, and he can tell you, oh yeah, it's this commission collector and he commissioned it and then he traded it to me or whatever. It's still a commission, right? Like somebody commissioned it at some point.
Well, I mean, it just transitions. It goes from being a personal commission to a specialty piece, right? Like that's what they decide to call it, right? They rebrand it, So.
It's funny that you say that, because I would not say that, because what historically has been known as a specialty piece, because that terminology already exists for a long time, and specialty pieces typically would be like the most famous example would be John Romita, when he did all that licensing artwork. So, pieces that he did for like Slurpee cups, for instance, or Toys R Us, that kind of stuff. That was always referred to.
So you would say like the licensed art on a Kenner Batman action figure is a specialty, but it's published, right? Whereas somebody doing a commission, right? That's not published.
Right. The thing is that I prefer to continue saying it's specialty.
So
it's specialty art, for the reason that when you say, oh, but it's published art, people think right away, the first thing that comes to mind when you use the word published, it's story pages from a comic book, right? That's what
right.
Quotes, right? So,
and by the way, I'm kidding when I'm about to say this, but so I have gotten fucked, because I've gotten specialty pieces, and Ruben just told me they're not specialty pieces. God damn it, what? Like so.
Yeah. But whatever. Like it's like Arango was saying, right? Like at a certain point, it's sort of you're splitting hairs with the terminology, right?
We're getting into semantics. We're getting into the micro semantics.
That's exactly it. So Comic Art Boston says, when the hobby was simpler and purer, artists were happy to do commissions. Well, sure, but again, this goes back like I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying Ryan. Jabo is so weird to me, but do you prefer Jabo, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't always answer Ryan. So
really, I don't answer my given name. That's awesome. All right, Jabo. Yeah, I mean, like it's like he was saying, right? Like, so 2004. I gotta tell you, I feel almost like Jabo's lying to me, because like I've been around since before then, and I wasn't a commission guy, but I knew commissioners. Right. And I don't remember anybody getting freebies. And unless it was, if it was either that tiny 2-minute sketch type thing, or if you're saying it was like kind of like that typical head sketch size, it was, maybe it was free, but it was like literally still 2 to 5 minutes. So it's like a thick marker, a big fat black marker, kind of like the outline of the head. Not much there really. And that, I saw some of that stuff being free, but not a lot of detail went into the free stuff. I'm assuming that you're not really job won't
So
talk to you, by the way.
the mistake people would make is that if you brought a sketchbook,
Right.
I found that if I came up with a sketchbook that that at that point probably had a whole bunch of like shit in there that I was already collecting, they usually went a little over the top. Like I started my sketchbook with a free Peter Laird Ninja Turtle sketch, which is like you said, it was just a Sharpies. But like then people open it up and they're like, "Holy shit, you have a Peter Laird sketch!" And then I had a Bruce Timm piece in there, and then people are just like, so everybody who went in afterwards would give me, it would be like a hedge sketch that would be done with like pencil or even pen sometimes, but it was detailed because they didn't want to be the shitty sketch after a couple of really nice ones. And I had my
that's
first
common
my first-
actually. I've heard that story over and over. That's really common. A lot of the artists are like they like to flip through it, right? And then let's see what's in here, and then oh shit, I'm not following that guy. Let me skip a few pages or whatever, right?
But yeah, and then I used to go up to, I mean, I still do, but my first like big convention, it was a fan expo up in Toronto. And I would go up there and the guys were incredible. But yeah, I would go up there and I was a kid. I mean, I was in 2004. I would have been like 20. I was like 21 years old. So, it was like me and my buddies, we'd go up there, we'd go hang out with whoever. But yeah, we didn't have a lot of money. I'd go up to that convention for 3 days and I'd have $100 in my name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I would fill sketchbooks because people thought it was awesome. Because I wasn't there to, I'd bring a bunch of books to get signed, and I would just get sketches from anybody I saw.
Yeah, Derek and Aranga, did you guys also partake of the free sketch period, or
No.
Aranga, you've only been in a little over 2 years.
It's like it's mythical to me.
Yeah.
I don't.
The unicorn.
What is this?
I have things, like I said, remarks and things like that nobody was really charging for. And like I said, the Dan Jurgens thing and, gifts, I have friends that, kind of gave me some sketches and this and that and the other thing. So, I mean, sort of, kind of, but not really.
Okay. CJ, you're learning. That's a good reason to be here too. I want to learn too from these guys. So that's another reason why it's a perfect topic for me tonight, And thank you, Stanley, who loves these collector conversations. Awesome. Excellent. I mean,
there's probably discrepancy between, that's why there's that category for con sketch versus commission, right? Because people have the whole like at home thing going on, and then that's versus like doing something in a con where you're under the gun for, say, it's a Sunday convention and they only have 8 hours to bang out, I don't know, three sketches or something like that, and then at the quality, it's like that meme where it's like, the artist has the 4 pictures and this is what I give you for free, and it's a stick figure, and this is what I give you for whatever, and it's, by the time you get to the end of it, this is what I give you for 4 figures and a week in the Bahamas, and it's this fantastic image or whatever it is, right? So I mean, everything's going to be variable according to those factors.
For sure. Hobby Halbert says he's getting his first commission done by Aranga.
Woo!
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah. Hey, it's very close, bud.
That's for those of you who don't know, who may be tuning in for the first time and are not familiar with Mr. Devasurendra.
It's like straight out of the Book of Ashanti.
Yeah, he doesn't do it for a living, but he is an artist himself of some renown. After I awarded him with the 2021 Best Newcomer of the Year award last year, so that was good. And so he's excellent to have here tonight because of the fact that he also now comes from this whole topic from the perspective both as a collector of commissions, a commissioner, probably has purchased already made commissions from other people, and now is an artist himself doing commissions for commission collectors. So that's and we'll get to that a little bit later as well, hopefully with you, Aranga. But yeah, so Hobby, that's very cool, and I'm excited to see what you get too. So hopefully you'll be posting it as soon as you get it.
Hey, quick shout out. I know Daryl was in here and Jeff Wedding. Those guys are at a meetup right now in Vegas.
Oh,
They're doing a comic art collector meetup.
oh, they
and-
finally met each other. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. There's like 4 or 5 of them, and they just sent me a picture. They've put the show up on the big screen. So yeah, in someone's house. I think they're in. I don't know if they're in Wedding's house or
Oh,
whatever.
really?
Yeah, but like, so they have the show up on a screen. They sent the. Thanks for taking the time to watch, fellas. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That's very cool. I'm glad you guys finally got together. All these guys living in the same state and not too far from each
Yeah,
other.
those guys don't really meet each other a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but it happens, right? I mean, it's like even like you probably guys are familiar too. Like I've got friends who I've known for 30 years and they're in the city here, but like if I see them twice a year, that's a lot, you know?
Right.
Life, right? Life gets in the way, whatever, you do your thing.
Dude, once you hit your 40s, something happens where it's like.
Well, usually it's marriage, kids, that whole shebang. I don't know what's happening with you.
I'm married, man. Why did you assume I was married? Did you assume I was like a fucking hermit living in Alabama?
No. But it's when you get to the kids, then it really ramps up, you know?
Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah.
But
hey, so I'm going to say something real quick, right?
Yeah.
Because we discussed the anatomy of a commission. We discussed like semantics, terminology, etc., etc. Can I just say why I fell in love with commissions?
Of course, because I actually wanted to ask all of you. Yeah,
I was at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm a late bloomer when it comes to this. Again, I grew up overseas, didn't have access to this kind of stuff, and I don't, I've been in the U.S. since '98 was when I moved here to go to college. And didn't have a ton of money while I was attending college to go to cons. Didn't know really a whole lot about it. I was at SDCC in 2019, and
that was your first one, right?
It was like I've been to Dragon Con a couple of times, but you know what Dragon Con's like.
SDCC, I mean.
Yeah, that was my first time at SDCC in 2019, and I found Artist Alley, and it was all right, cool. I'm not like big into getting signatures from collectors. That's not my thing, or whatever. And I was walking by, and I love Jay Lee. Jay is like, from his X Factor run and whatever. Yeah. And he had this thing that said like he was drawing. So I was like, all right, what the hell's going on here? And like I think this is how a lot of us come into it. But like, so I got a commission from him and it was like $200. And I was like, holy shit, this is like freaking expensive. Little did I know. But so I got a commission from him. And like it was kind of emotional to me because, growing up, never had access, it was a disconnected kind of experience reading comics.
Yeah. And
then to suddenly be able to meet this artist that you love and say, hey, I'd love an Archangel from you because I love that run on X Factor. And boom, right there, does an Archangel for me at the con. That's mine. So he did it. That's one of one that he did specifically for me. Right. So like the difference with published art is, yes, like, hey, I own it. It's one of one, yada, yada, yada. But, hey, it was done for a print run of whatever. It's done for the general comic readership. This is like a one-on-one interaction with the artist where I'm able to kind of, tell them what their work means to me and then have them do something that's exclusively mine. I'm the first person to see it. No one else is going to get it unless I sell it for some reason. And even today, and I'll tell you, I'm with Derek, right? So I've not had the nuclear experience yet. I've had some piss poor ones. Right. I've had some piss poor ones, and I've had some piss poor ones on some expensive commissions, right? But so I'm at roughly about 150 commissions collected, okay, over the last X amount of years. I can still count like on one hand, like the experiences where I was like, okay, I can see why people stop collecting commissions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. One hand. And it hasn't discouraged me yet, but at the pricing that's coming now, people have to make decisions for themselves. I'll say that.
Right.
There's different levels of how demanding a commissioner you can be too. I mean, you can be really like easygoing, right? Like I've got a buddy who loves Supergirl, and it's very simple to make him happy. It's just, hi, you're artist X. draw me a Supergirl, right? And that's all he needs, right? And you can have focuses like that, but like for me, there's a different level to, I don't know, getting someone who's already drawn Maxima to do a commission for me versus, holy shit, I've never seen this guy do it before. I wonder what it's going to look like. I bet it would look super cool. And then when you get it, and it does look super cool, that's a certain level of high, a certain level of satisfaction. But then there's another level where, you know, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. I like the wacky ass team ups. Like, what's better? Because that shit's never gonna get published. Like, nobody's gonna figure out the rights for fucking Transformers and DC to get together. Nobody's gonna figure out like getting Doctor Who and Doctor Strange together. They're gonna be like, fuck you, Crab, you can't see that. But you know what I can do? I can just go up and get somebody to do what is in my wacky ass head and see it, you know, and that's the aspect of the whole, you know, I don't know, failed artist or what, you know, I don't know if I believed in the failed thing, but, or maybe I'm failed, but dude, what am I doing? I'm like, this dude is not failed, right? Like, so it doesn't apply to everybody, right? But yeah. The point is, like, you do get a sense of, like, that you're participating in the creative process. Of course. And that is to me like another level of it, rather than just, dude, I want a Maxima or I want a Supergirl, and you just want to see what this artist you enjoy. You know, I enjoy your work. I want to see your take on this character versus, oh, you know, because I came up with all these crazy ass what's the right word? You know how people do, like, I kind of thought it was cool, the idea of doing the whole homage covers or whatever, like, but make it your own, right? So I came up with like all these wacky concepts of, oh, I would like this and this and this, and so
you mean like not recreations but reinterpretations.
Yeah. So like in other words, like if you loved, you know, I don't know, the Dark Knight Returns cover, but instead of Batman jumping through a lightning bolt, you know, you got Ambush Bug jumping through a lightning bolt, or, you know, whatever it is, right? Whoever you like, right? And so that was something that I considered going down that road, and there was one time I sort of entertained that and pursued it to a point. But it just sort of like, and I think I told you that in the email, and it just sort of, you know, fell by the wayside, not because of anything on my end and not because of anything on the opposite end. It just sort of fell by the wayside. So that just by happenstance was something I never pursued. But that's a whole other level, like these 1 minute later covers or, you know, whatever it is, right? Like that's a whole higher echelon of demand. And I kind of realize and acknowledge, like, some things I've asked for, I realize, look, I understand this is a huge ask. And if they get 80% of it right and 20% of it wrong, I have to be honest, like, inside my heart, like, there's a little disappointment, because I'm like, it's not 100%, right? Yeah, but at the same time, I acknowledge that I am a demanding commissioner, right? Like so that realization might not always be perfect. But of course, when it is perfect, like that all those aspects are fulfilled, like whatever it is you're asking for, then that's golden, right? Like you're just like, wow. You know, and sometimes it can be very specific. Like, I won't ask for something from somebody if I haven't sort of thought it through. You know, I mean, I don't know when we're going to get to showing things, but, you know, some of the things that I brought tonight.
Anything you want to talk. It's not. I'm not doing it as any kind of set time or whatever.
Well, bring up the Alred, you know, Surf's Up Batman, Silver Surfer.
Oh, the Surfer one, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that was something.
Okay, sure. Here we go.
I mean that was something that I thought of, and I was like, the only person that I would have ever had do this is Alred. Like, that nobody else would I have asked to do this, right? And it was for specific reasons. Like, I loved the Slot Surfer run that he did, and the fact that he was working and doing all these issues and covers of Batman 66. Like, I knew I would love it, and I kind of knew deep down he would love doing it. And it just all sort of converged to the point where, you know, and it wasn't something super demanding. It was just, hey, Surf's Up Batman, Silver Surfer. That's it. And then that came back, and I was like, fan-fucking-tastic. Thank you. Like that's for me, like, it fit everything. I had a great experience. It was great to work with Simon. Like, he's a fantastic rep and all that stuff. Like, that's who it went through. And when all those aspects are good, right? That there's no bad experiences or burning or anything like that. Like, that's why you keep doing it, because I mean, like you said, it's a risk, but there's also that weird element of, like, somebody who gambles, right? Why does somebody who loses, who gets burned, keep coming back to the craps table or whatever it is? It's because they remember that first one, and they're chasing the dragon, or whatever the hell it is, right? They want to get that high again that they got that first time. And that's, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question enough, but that's an aspect of why there's that repetitive behavior, even though maybe there are instances where people, and like I said, I've been very lucky, but if somebody was really, really burned, right, there might be the instinct to just cut off everything, like I'm done, I'm not doing any of this anymore, no matter what the circumstances. But there might also be the people where they're like, look, I'll try it with this guy, but not that guy who was the one who I don't know, slighted me or what have you, right?
Well, that's great. Like, I want, and I actually want to stay with the positive side of commission collecting, but just real quick, because and I'm sorry guys, I'm behind in highlighting. There's a lot of good comments, and I don't want to pass through them because then I'll forget. And I really wanted to put this one up here by heart. Of the 100+ commissions he had had asked from the artist directly, wow, he got fucked 25 times. Wow, like,
that's a terrible,
that's crazy, man. That is really crazy. And okay, I mean, when you started back in '99, it doesn't matter. It's more, the amount of commissions versus how many turned out bad, right? Like the
well, I mean, maybe it does matter, right? Because I think something we'd all point to is, like, there's, just like I'm sure artists probably have a secret list of all of us commissioners of who to stay the fuck away from. Like, there's online Facebook groups that are like buyer beware and look out for this, or here's my experience with this and that kind of thing. I mean, that's how, in my head, like I said, I thought of specific people. I think long and hard about it before I even approach somebody. And so to me, it was always like sort of a shock, right? Because you'd look at some of these people and you'd read their experiences, and like I said to you, you'd read it and go, damn, I dodged a bullet, because I was thinking of that dude right there in the Facebook group for this very specific commission that I thought was going to be super boss and make me super happy, and just by luck of the draw, I never pursued that. And I was like, well, damn, like, good for me, right? So I could have been hard, but not for certain, I don't know, online tools and all that kind of stuff. That the ease of access that the information can easily be obtained now versus if you were in 1999 doing AOL dial-up. There was no buyer beware Facebook group back then. So it's like, it's unfortunate, but that's he didn't have those resources, right? Like, so he was just doing it on his own, and a lot of times, I don't know. Sometimes I ask about this, or I feel like I should ask about this, is like, when you guys do commissions, like, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus when I say this, so I'm going to try to be as generic as possible. But I hear lots of people going, I won't commission unless I can pay half, and then I get a timetable, and I have a specific contract laid out with step-by-step numbers of what the commission is going to be, and if I don't get that, then I don't commission. And I'm kind of like,
why did you become a British guy?
I don't know, but I was just like, I don't know. Like, for me, like, I mean, maybe I'm stupid, but like, I've never done any of that because I didn't want to fuck up the commission. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, it's just kind of like, oh, do you want to do this? You're interested in it? Okay, let's do it. And I've totally, like, again, super risky, but I mean, I've totally thrown all my eggs in the basket. And because I think I've had good experiences, and hopefully, I guess my hope is I've built up a good personal rep too, that if you know, I don't know, artist Y gets an email from me, you know, maybe they talk to artist, you know, A and B, and they said, oh yeah, this kid's above board, and you know, he paid on time and everything's hunky dory, and he's not gonna burn you, right? Like, so, and then, you know, it goes down, you know. So but sometimes I'm always like suspect of, like, you know, people that say, oh, I've only paid, you know, 25% down or whatever it is, because I'm kind of like, I don't ever remember doing that. And maybe I'm a stupid commissioner, you know, I don't know, but I'm just curious, like, in your guys's commissioning, like, did you ever have like super duper fine tooth contract arrangements like that? No. Right. So to me, okay.
Dude, if you do that, they're going to shit all over your commission.
Right. If you ask for that, like,
right.
They just go fuck yourself. Like, this is how I work.
So then to me, this is the part of the conversation that I want to be honest. All those people that say that, and again, sorry if that's you, but you're full of shit, because you're not getting any good commissions if you're approaching it that way, right? Yeah. And if you've gotten fucked because of that, like, part of that is, like, I guess what Ruben's saying is, how can you guys do that? Like, you have to put yourself in a certain supplicatory position, like, where you're like, you know, hey, you know what, like, you know what I mean? Like, don't you can't be you know, I don't know, Caesar in Planet of the Apes being the top guy demanding everything. You have to be like, please, Caesar, can I get this commission? Is it cool with you? And you have to, I don't know, to me, like, yeah, you have to do those kind of mental backflips to be willing to get to that, I don't know, commission high that you're going to do, right? Like, you can't come in like guns blazing and make all these demands and then expect like somebody's going to respond favorably to that.
I don't understand. Sorry, go ahead, Jabbo. My bad.
Well, I was going to say, sometimes you just got to, you know, stroke the ego a little bit too, let's be honest. I mean, but it goes so far.
Well, artists as a group, you know, artistic people certainly tend to have healthy egos most of the time. So yeah, it makes sense that stroking the ego is probably a good thing for the commissioner.
You got to treat it like you're asking out like the hot girl at school, right?
Yeah.
And just, you know, once in a while, it might actually work for you.
You know, to be honest with you, Ruben, like, yes, there's that group of artists, but I think we all kind of know who those artists are, the ones that have hit it big or whatever. I'll tell you, in my experience, a lot of the artists that I've dealt with are humble to a fault, where like a compliment kind of, they don't know how to take it. It's like, you know, they've learned over the years to take a compliment, like, oh, thank you, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to say never found ego to be a problem, but I find it, oh, Jesus, thanks, Nick. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Yeah, Nick made me lose my train of thought. No. Yeah, I just don't think, but I also, like, I'm kind of curious, like, you are buying, at the end of the day, regardless of what you call it, what your emotional connection to it is, whatever the hell it is, you're buying a product from someone that's selling it, and it's a custom product. Right. And you're going to go in there and tell them, hey, buddy, you're going to make this for me. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to give you 10%. You're going to bust your ass, make this thing. All right. And then in 6 months, I'm going to give you another $10. And then we're going to break that up from there on. What kind of mental gymnastics did you do to think that would work is one, right? And I'll tell you from my experience, I've had someone try to do, just one person. Overall, I've had fantastic experiences. I've had one person do that to me, and I had to be like really polite and say, you know, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What?
Very interesting.
Khalil. Hey, Khalil. By the way, good evening. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, he was mentioning that, you know, he thinks it through before he goes out, and in other words, I guess it goes to that thing of, you know, maybe if you're those kinds of people who is wary, but you still kind of are pulled towards commissions, you know, do some research, right? I mean, how hard is it these days, especially with all the various different
everywhere
groups online, right? The people that you can meet in various, you know, collectors you can meet online in various places. It's so easy to sort of just ask people about it, right? And you could quickly find out who you know, hey, what do you think of this guy? Do you know anybody who has commissioned that guy? Or, you know, and you can pretty much get at least quick idea as to, hey, maybe I should maybe not think about this guy. Maybe I'll try somebody else first. You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes it doesn't even have to go that far. Sometimes it can be like, I'm thinking of artist X, and then you go look up all the commissions that artist X has ever done, and you're sitting there going, these are all badass. Okay, I'm going to move to the next step. Let me research what the feedback is and move on to the next step. But sometimes you do that first step, and you go, hey, I'm going to look up artist X commissions, and go, oh man, I'm not too into that. And I'm certainly not into that for price Y. You know what I mean? And then you're done. You're finished, right? You move on to the next thing.
So much information out there right now.
Well, you know what? And I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a little bit, especially for newer commissioners. I'll say over the last couple of years, the pandemic years, right? Is that the one thing you really have to fight against is the absolute FOMO that hits now, because think of like the reps or the artists, and this is no offense to anybody, because I've gotten some great pieces because I've gotten some ones that weren't as good, but they're like, hey, we only have 5 spots, like basically. So in your mind, you're like, well, fuck, I don't have time to research. I need to get one of these 5 spots, or I need to email this rep right now, or else I'm not going to get it. And I think a lot of people, especially newer collectors, are starting to fall victim to that, and I think it's starting to show. Now that these pieces are and they're getting their pieces, but they're like, wow, this isn't what I expected.
Right. I think that's the opposite of us doing research, right? Like that's that thing where if how should I say, like if you do research and you decide this isn't for me, I tend to think of those FOMO opportunities as like going into, like, you know, one of these, you know, dating services, and they're like, you need to give us 30 grand now, but you don't have time to think about it because you're not going to do it, so you better give the 30 grand now. And you're just like, no thanks, goodbye, right? And that's kind of what I feel about those like FOMO kind of opportunities. It's like, if you forcing me to do it, it can't be worth what you're asking for, and it's easier for me to walk away from that.
Well, and that's why that's like, for guys like us, like you're 100% right. We either know who the person is, so it's not really a big deal. We're like, oh shit, that guy's actually good, let's jump on the list. Or you'll be like, I don't know anything about this, like and like you said, big red flag, like fuck this, like I'm staying away. But unfortunately, like a lot of people, and it's no fault of anybody's, because like the market just keeps getting bigger, right? Like the hobby is getting bigger and bigger. That they haven't, I don't want to say they haven't been burned, but they haven't been around long enough to see what some of these opportunities really are.
Right.
Or even the history of the opportunities, right? Like that. There's that factor where, you know, you could get this for, you know, a lower price from this person a year ago, and now it's a year later, and it's you know, I don't know, quintupled in value, and you're like, oh, well, holy crap, like that's, you know, that's different, right? I would have gone for it the year ago, but maybe I wouldn't go for it, you know, the year later when it's quintupled. Like I think Daryl had a question about that. Like, what do we think about the value of, you know, actually, commissioning?
Perfect timing, because I've been waiting for a spot to sort of interject here and pop up David Barr. Hi, David, by the way. Thanks for coming by. So he says, "What?"
David. Sorry.
Published art, right? When it comes to appreciation and value, can I give my first quick answer to that?
No, you're not a commission collector. You can't. So, what I say commissions are. You know, like when people ask what a boat, when you buy a boat and they ask you like what a boat is. A boat is like a hole in the ocean that you throw money into. Okay, so this is commissions are kind of the same way, right? I
love my hole. I need my hole.
Right. You just got to throw money into it. Sometimes it works out, right? Like an artist hits it big, or, you know, the only thing that happens is like over time, as their commission prices increase, right, you can maybe get to the value of what their current commission prices are. But really, if you go into it with some kind of idea, like we see the gold rush that's fucking going on with published art right now, and that is what it is. It's a gold rush. And if you somehow see that, and you see it in people trying to sell commissions, if you see that aspect of it with published art, and you try to do the same thing with commissions, you're in for a rude shock, boy. Yeah, that is not happening. Most often, I would say if you can get your money back, right, from a commission during a sale, you've done fairly good for yourself.
What I've always liked to say about them in terms of the value, whatever, and David, just to sort of give you my answer, even though Aranga doesn't want me to answer since I'm not a commission collector. So my answer has always been, listen, I don't like, I always talk in generalities, right? So in other words, generally speaking, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. I don't talk, forget the exceptions, right? There's always people who are going to
John Byrne
tell you about the exceptions, but generally speaking, no. And historically speaking as well, no, the commission market never, ever has ever been anywhere near, not even close to having that appreciation and value as published art. And like what Aranga was saying, I guess the best way to put it is it's funny because it's almost like the reverse with commissions. It's like rather than market supply and demand being the determining factor, it is instead the artist's current commission asking prices that would determine what your older commission is now worth. Mm-hmm. Because essentially that you have to keep this in mind. A commission's a commission. It was done. It's not published. It was done for somebody's benefit, personal enjoyment, right? And so therefore the thing is that guy was able to do it. Ergo, anybody else can commission that artist to do the same character, even if you want to, in the same pose, right? So that's kind of that's part of the reason that keeps the value of commissions down, because it's like making a copy, right? As long as the artist is working, they can make more and more and more and more commissions. That's basically there's many reasons, but that's the main reason why they will never have anywhere near the same type of aftermarket value. You can always go back and get another commission if you don't like the one your friend's trying to sell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And also there's the whole published versus unpublished, because the whole point is like suddenly if it's published, I've never understood the mentality of it, right? Okay, so your commission got seen by one person or whoever the hell you shared it with, maybe 1,000 people, but this thing that was published was seen by 150,000 people, whatever the frick the print run of that book was, or whatever. Right. I don't look at art that way. I don't look at comic art that way. You know, I don't look at it in terms of it's a very binary way. Yeah, I've heard that one too. It's a very binary way to look at it. It also feels like a little disingenuous to a certain degree. You love what you love, man. Hey, I love commissions. I love comics, right? And I would love to have some of that shit. I still, Jabo still reads comic to this day. Derek still reads. I know a lot of published collectors, right? There's a lot of them that don't read comics today, right? So
you're talking about the current commission collectors?
No. I'm talking about current published collectors. Right?
Tons.
Yeah, a ton of them don't. But so what it is right? Like an audience was built, and here's what I say. I'm gonna get on my soapbox here. An audience was built back in the 80s, 90s, whatever you want to go, based on reading comic books, right? And then now these guys, we've become 40. We're buying that stuff, reaping the benefits of a comic readership that increased the value of that art as we've gotten here, right? But we won't read comic books. We won't read comic books to appreciate the value of the shit being printed today, right? We're not reading comic books. The sale of comic books, traditional American comic books, I'm not talking about manga. So those are going down, less eyes on them, less interest being built. 20 years from now, where are these guys? The guys that read comics, that loved it, fell in love, and so therefore 20 years from now, they want to buy that page. They want to buy that cover. If you're going to be a good citizen, if you're going to be a good comic art citizen, read a goddamn book. Today.
So it's funny because Comic Art Boston says there are exceptions though, Ruben. But my friend, I just finished saying, I prefaced what I said by saying, I speak in generalities. There are always exceptions. Of course, there are always exceptions. We're not talking about the exceptions because those are few and far between. Of course, you're saying if the price of the published work of an artist have risen astronomically, his or her commissions will also rise. Of course. Of course. Absolutely. That's what I said. There are exceptions, of course, to every rule. Absolutely. But in general, no. If you're wondering what your stuff is going to be worth in the future, if that's what your primary thing is, especially, stick to your published art for sure.
Yeah, if you're looking for an investment opportunity, stay the hell away from commissions, man.
You're not commissioned. Unless you got that commission 20 years ago,
right.
Don't.
Yeah. If you got like a Bernie Wrightson commission or a John Byrne commission, right? Yeah, those are different stories, man, but few and far between.
Oh, very few. And most people who have that aren't giving that shit up.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if they are, they're giving it up for a freaking premium.
Yeah. Well, right, exactly. They're going to turn that commission into like, a cover of something.
Right.
A boat.
Check this. Check what CJ says, because I don't remember this. I mean, and obviously, CJ, I believe you. If you tell me that's what happened, I believe you. But like, when would that have been, CJ? Because like 12 by 17 for $100 commission. At the same time, he was charging $100 when his panel pages were only 40. Like, when was that? I'd like to know roughly.
Well, but what kind of page, right? Like, I mean, that's the time to get into the minutia of it. Is it the most awesome Sal splash page? Probably not, right? It's probably going to be like Sharon Carter doing her nails in the salon or something. That's $40, right? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be the most sought after page, right? And then somebody,
Check it out. He says the mid-70s.
Wow.
He was close to you back then.
He was charging $100 in the mid-70s for commission.
That does not sound realistic. Are you sure?
I mean, I believe you, CJ. I believe you. I mean, unlike Ruben, I'm not calling you a liar.
No, but like, I'm just wondering, CJ, is it possible? The passage of time, nobody's memory is infallible.
Right?
Could you be misremembering that? Because 70s Sal Buscema commissions, I honestly believe would have been 12 by 17. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been more than $15 to $20 in the 70s, man.
Yeah.
I think you're misremembering. I'm not calling you a liar. I just think it's a memory thing.
I think 2 years ago.
If he says he'll find the price. If you've got it, for sure, check it out, man. I'd like to know.
Because I think you could get like a Sal single figure. I want to say it wasn't 12 by 15, but it was like 9 by 12 maybe, for like $100 a couple of years ago. It's a little bit higher now.
Right.
Like $200 now.
Right.
But
exactly.
man, that's super interesting.
If it ends up being accurate, that's crazy, right?
Sal's ahead of the game, man.
That's really crazy if it ends up being accurate. So I don't know, but all right. So guys, why don't Jabo, since you're doing a little bit less of the talking, why don't you give me, if you don't mind, or give all of us, obviously, an example of, well, why don't we go with your favorite all-time commission experience? If you got one that stands, or anyone, even if there's a few, one of the ones that stood out like the best, if it's like a good story or whatever. And by the way, let me know if it ends up being one that you sent me a scan for, let me know so I can pop it up and let people see,
Oh, no, it's not. Those are just my two favorites because they're fantastic.
Oh, okay. Okay. So talk a bit, and then once you get into it, I'll show it,
there's I don't have, I should say, there's a couple bad ones that either never got the art, so like they're kind of like whatever. It happens. But at this point, I mean, I've commissioned hundreds and hundreds of pieces, so it's kind of hard to really hold it against anybody. But some of my best experiences with commissions were at conventions, right? Like I love getting art at conventions, which is a little bit harder now. A lot of times now it gets done at the hotel, it gets mailed to you, which is cool. You still get the art, but like, I used to love just like standing there bullshitting with the artists as they were working on my piece. And especially guys that like I really looked up to. I remember like the first time first time I met Bruce Timm. It was at Fan Expo in Toronto, and he had no line. I was just up there. He drew a Robin for me. We talked for like half an hour, and we got to talk about the animated series and the books and Harley Quinn, all this other stuff. And it was epic. Like as a kid who grew up on that, it was like really reaching into a part of my childhood, and then walking away with a piece of art that was like in my head. Every time I look at it, it takes me right back to 2004. And then like, you know, I have guys like one of my favorite artists of all time is Todd Knock. I love him. One of my favorite DC book of ever is Young Justice. I absolutely adore that book. I don't give a fuck about DC. I'm telling you right now, like I hate DC.
Man, I have a thick skin. I'm used to this shit.
But I finally had the chance to. It was actually one of the Heroes Initiative, the Zoom calls they were doing over the pandemic. I got to do one with Todd Knock, and it was the first time I actually met him, even though it was online. And man, it was like he was everything I could have hoped for. I mean, he was super fun. We got to talk, we got to chat, we talked about Young Justice, we talked about everything. It was such a good time, and it was like, so that piece I have, like, it's, you know, that came from that. It's on my wall, but every time I see it, I'm like, it was like, this is like such a piece of my own history. That it's like I don't know, like I love it. Like I have such an emotional attachment to a lot of pieces I've gotten that like that's the part that I will always take with me. Like I've gotten a lot of commissions, you know, from online, from different ops and stuff, and plenty that I really like, but like I don't really care as much about them. I'm not saying I'm gonna get rid of them, but like I look at them, I'm like, wow, this is great art, but like that's it. Like it's a great piece. Maybe it's on my wall, maybe it's in a portfolio. But like, I mean, there's pieces that I've met the guys, and maybe it was a $20 head sketch, and I hold that into the highest regard because to me it brings me back to a convention, it brings me back to a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, if I can just interrupt real quick.
Yeah, of course.
For me, what you're saying now, it's what I always imagined. For those of you who do collect commissions, right? I know there's, you know, just like for me, there's many reasons not to do them. I know there's always many reasons why you guys do them. For me, I always imagined that was the number one. The whole idea of the experience of these guys who you grew up loving their work. You get to meet them, shake their hand, maybe talk to them a bit, right face to face, and you get to have that experience. And then so when you get the commission from them, you don't just get that piece of art that you get to go home and enjoy, of course, right? But every time you look at that piece, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, I imagine that then every time you look at the piece, you enjoy the art, but you also remember the experience that you went through getting it, right? I mean, wouldn't you say that's like if you had to rank the reasons, isn't the whole experience, the personal one-on-one experience, wouldn't that be like the number one, you think, like for most commission collectors, like the number one reason why, what they love about getting commissions? Do you think? I
think so. And when it's like, and a ranking kind of hit on the head for me too, like, you know, because I'm a comic reader, right? I never stopped. Yeah. I've been reading since I was a kid, and there was never a lull. So being able to go back and getting pieces from guys that I grew up, you know, collecting their books or even new guys that I'm like, man, I love these guys' art, and here they are right in front of me. Let's hang out and talk and, you know, follow each other on Instagram or something. But it's like there's that personal connection that I love, and I buy like published pages. Like I have some of those too, and they're great. They're fun. I try to get them off characters that I love. But like the commissions are just, it's like that little piece of your heart, right? Like you get to take around. It's like, oh man, like I remember when I met that dude, and I was hammered in Niagara Falls, and like, you know, we went to dinner together or something, and you know, and here I am with this weird little head shop, but that little head shop means more to me than anything else I own.
Yeah, I mean that's the most. I mean, you're talking about like tiers of things. Like to me, like you want to talk about the most positive tier experience, right? You request something. It's not going to be a con sketch. It's going to be an at-home quality commission, but they're going to do it before the show. You go to the show. Yeah, they did exactly what you asked for. You get to meet them. You get to shake their hand. You took a picture of them with you and the art and. Everything's like super awesome. And then beyond that, I'm talking about something specific, so you could pull it up once I'm done talking about it. But after all that's done, you hear your friends tell you that the artist said, oh, this was the best thing to work on. Derek gave me such great direction and such great details, and he was super, super specific about what he wanted. And that was the Doctor Strange by Ron Randall. Like that slide, right? Like, because that was at HeroesCon 2019. Some of my good podcast friends, the Sutherlands, are really good friends with Ron Randall, and so I reached out to him and I set that up way beforehand. And my notes, I was like, I want the first appearance Doctor Strange with the blue cape, not the red cape. I want Doctor Who. I want the Sixth Doctor that everybody can't stand, and I don't want him in his stupid outfit. I want him in the blue outfit that everybody thinks is super cool from like the tapes and all that other stuff. And it was just, it was just a random thought I had. I'm like, I want the two doctors, and they're both in, swanky blue outfits. And it was exactly what I asked for. It was great to go to the con, and then he's like, here you go, like, here it is. And I was just like, this is the best. Like, I wish my wish, like, if I had the Infinity Stones and stuff, would be everybody gets this as their commission experience, because that's how good it was, and that's what I would wish for everybody else, right? That every time they got a commission, it was that easy. Nothing gets lost in the mail. Nothing. There's not something in there where you're like, whoops, he drew the Doctor in the wacky outfit instead. I guess I just have to live with it. Like nothing was out of place. Everything was awesome.
Right. Yeah. So that's was this just one great experience, or is this like your all-time best one?
I mean, this commission I really like a lot. Like, I don't know that I think I would say the commission that I like the best is the Surfer Surf's Up Batman. But this, in terms of like what you're talking about, the reason why I picked this one, because I knew you were asking about it, is in terms of experience, right? That's, to me, this was the ultimate in perfect, right? Because the Silver Surfer one misses that aspect you're talking about. I've never met Mike Allred. I've been to tons of cons and everything like that. I've never met him in person. I'd love to get him to sign a couple comic books. I'd love to tell him that I enjoy his art and shake his hand and, what have you. But I never got the thing where I got with Ron Randall, where I went to the con, my buddies took a photo of me, and it's me holding the art, looking happy as a pig in shit, and Ron Randall sitting there, and that's, that's, like you said, that's part of the experience. You look back on that art and you remember that moment, and it's an extra layer of, feeling good about what you've done,
Yeah, for sure.
And you get a little bit more of that disconnection today, right? Like, as reps take at-home lists for their artists, all you end up doing is it's a very commercial transaction. You send them the money, you tell them what they want. Most times you end up never speaking to the artist. But like, you get some stuff that's like home runs. So there's two ends of that spectrum. There are the commission experiences I had where I absolutely loved it, loved interacting with the artist. Eventually kind of sort of became friends with the artist, etc., all of that stuff. I may not love the piece as much, but when I see it, I remember that kind of stuff. On the flip side of that, like, there's experiences that I've had where it's just been purely transactional, where I've said, here's what I want, here's your money, sir, and I get something that just knocks me on my ass, and it's flat out amazing. And I value both, right? Yeah.
No, I get that. I mean, like, I some people know I collect cover art, painted covers from paperback novels from the 1950s and 60s, and it's a compared to comic art. I mean, comic art is already tiny compared to comics themselves, and then vintage paperback cover art is infinitesimally tiny compared to comic book art. The markets I'm talking about, and so I understand that the best of the best stuff, it'll go up in value, for example, to a certain degree. But others pretty much don't go up in value, even though I've had them for over a decade, let's say, right? And I'm not mentioning this because of value reasons, but more because I realize that certain types of art, and this ties into commissioning, for example. The way I look at that stuff is I buy it because I love it, just like comic art, right? But with comic art, I'm just fortunate enough, like we all are, that it just tends to happen to also be a de facto investment that continues to pay dividends for all of us, at some point we can all cash out, but other stuff like that, other stuff I collect, The pieces you see behind me, some of that stuff never really goes up. But the way I look at it is I'm not buying it for that reason anyways. I'm buying it because I love it. And so I place a lot of value in the enjoyment. This is one of the things that a lot of comic collectors, I feel, they sort of lose sight of the fact, right? That we take a lot of things for granted. It's very easy to do. And is that not everything, because we get used to it. Oh, everything's going up in price. Everything. But every now and then, if it doesn't go up in price, you should still value the years that you spent with it, the enjoyment you got out of certain pieces, even if you find out that I can basically get my money back out of it at best, let's say, right? That who cares, right? Like if you bought it for the right reasons, that's the nice thing, is that you can remember it. Well, I've enjoyed this piece for 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, 20, whatever amount of time it is. And there's value in that. There really is value in that, right? You can't just say, oh, all the value of a piece of given art is in the physical piece. No, you kind of have to think like, hey, man, you've had it for X amount of time and you've gotten enjoyment out of it for all that time. That's worth money, right? You can't quantify it, obviously, right? You can't quantify the value of the enjoyment per se, but I think we have to focus more on valuing that aspect of it.
Yep.
Well, you talking about that makes me think like certain, I guess if you're talking about like published art, like maybe people are just spoiled with that return on investment, right? Because I've collected tons of other things. I know Jabo, man. I mean, like you think I made money off, like you think I'm going to get my money back if I sell Megatron over here? Like, fuck no. Like, I'm not going to get my money back on Megatron. Like, so that personal investment, like,
Eric, you know what? Just real quick, you probably could get it back on Megatron if it was just Megatron. But like Megatron and Doctor Who together, you're never getting your money back out.
Right. But I'm talking about this guy, right? This actual guy, right? Like once you open it, once you mess around with it, and you get your enjoyment out of it, and you try to sell it back, like it's always good. Like I'm used to losing money on stuff like that. Like it's just, that's the name of the game. So to me, it's like the fact that you say like, dude, at least you can get your money back. I'm like, to me, that's a win. Like if I can get my money back, like that's a big win, because I feel like if I ever sell any of this stuff, it's always at a loss. Like this whole notion of, wow, published comic art, you can make money off of it, like that, blows my mind, because I can tell you when I got out of like what's the right way to say it? Like I still read comics, but when I got out of like physical comics, where now I have maybe like a box or two or whatever, but I used to have tons of long boxes. And when I finally sold all that stuff, I mean, some of it I gave away, some of it I sold on eBay, and I might as well have given it away, and some of it, like I had certain key issues and people paid me, kind of what the current fair market value was, right? But I mean, that was about it, like it was like people wanted to cherry pick all my good stuff, like all the early X-Men issues and the Amazing Spider-Man with the Hobgoblin that had the intact stupid tattoo or whatever. Like they cherry picked all that, and then you're left with like a long. And it's a cool issue. It's like, but then you're left with a long box of stuff that like nobody really wants, and you plop a big box on eBay and sell it for $10, like, or whatever it is, right? Like so at that point, I'm used to selling things at a loss. So to me, I'd say like maybe those people are spoiled, right? Like that they're getting more money than they paid for, or getting their money back.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying, I don't know what this. Yeah, it's spoiled, or like I said, you take it for granted. It's a form of being spoiled, exactly, because we've all had it so good for so long, So yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Look, Derek mentioned something like on the right at the outset of the show, like where he was talking. He used a super like awesome word. He called published art collectors elitist.
Oh, elitist.
Not all of them, but
no, hold on.
Yes, there is absolutely.
He didn't say they were. No, he didn't say you didn't specify. Correct us, because
100%.
I said there's.
He said that there is a certain elitism in all the factors of whether you're published or whether you are only a commission collector. Isn't that what you were saying, Derek?
No, I think I was saying there's echelons, like where if, because to me the way I think of it is the way the film industry used to look at TV, right? Film thought TV was fucking shit, and TV thought people who wrote cartoons were fucking shit, and now we're kind of in this weird nebulous period where TV looks like film, and it's a little harder for people to sort of, you know, trickle down the I don't know, elitism, right? But I mean, I do feel like if you're a published, I don't know, Marvel art collector, like those people are going to go, oh, you collect DC? Yeah. Right?
Right.
Like, I mean, or whatever it is, right? Like there's going to be that aspect, right? Where there's certain echelons of what it is. And certainly there's going to be the echelon of, oh, all you have is commissions. And I mean, they you know, people talk about it all the time, right? People are afraid to like show off their commissions because they think people are going to fucking laugh at them, right? And most times the natural response to that is, no, we love your art, we want to see your art, post your art, share your art, like don't feel that way, this is a welcoming community or whatever. But you know, there is that aspect where, I mean, there's got to be a reason why people feel that way. I mean, it didn't just come out of thin fucking air, you know, like, so I'm sorry.
If you're going to be diplomatic about it, I'll go the other way and say 100%. Like, I've seen it, I've experienced it, I've talked to commission collectors that have experienced it. I only get it like once because they will fucking hear back from me if they try that bullshit, right? Like, I'm not a guy to keep my mouth shut about that kind of stuff. I don't have time or the patience to deal with people who think that there are levels to loving art. Get the fuck out of here.
Like, comic art gatekeepers is the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, and Marcus said something about like the old art versus new art gatekeeping.
Oh, okay, okay,
right? Like, oh, like, you know, hey, I don't collect anything beyond the 90s. I don't collect anything beyond the 80s. They're all garbage now. So you get all of those different levels, but for sure there is an elitism attached with collecting published art versus commission art, and there's commission collectors that will tell you that the kind of feelings that they get, the kind of comments that they get from people, because they look at you, they look at it as, you know, no offense to anybody here that doesn't like commission collecting or don't collect commissions, but they look at it as you're dumb if you spend your money on commissions when you could be doing
right.
Putting it, and my counter to that is, no, I kind of consider what I've been collecting more and more published art over the recent past, but I look at it as, look, this is something that I love. All right, I'm not doing this for investment purposes. I'm not doing this to diversify my portfolio or because the stock market is in the trash, and so I'm going to put all that money into comic art. There is no devious fucking intent to what I'm doing. If you love published art and you want to spend money on it, Jesus Christ, I mean, more power to you. I would like to do that too. Cool, because there's stuff from that era, and you know, there's nostalgia for that stuff that I want to do, and I do get the opportunity to do that. But commissions, man, there's a purity to collecting commissions where you are like, I'm not gonna get my fucking money back, but like I get the art experience, I get this, I get that. I would arguably there's a purity to it. But if there are published art collectors right now that think that way and treat commission collectors that way, you know, do a little soul searching and stop doing that.
Yeah, I mean, look, and Comic Art Boston, he says it the best, right? The great part about this show is that we are talking about the love of the hobby. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to, right? And everybody can love whatever they love about the hobby and get their enjoyment out of it in whatever the way they want to, right? It's like for me, just because I never was drawn in by the desire to do commissions, right? It doesn't mean I ever shit on people who did them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I understand you guys. I can see the love that you guys get from doing that is the same as whatever love I get when I get my latest published page. You know what I mean? Like, there's no difference, right? So but like Derek was saying, like it's true. No, you're absolutely right. With the whole elitist thing. But like you were saying, Aranga, it's not. I gotta sort of defend to some extent. I gotta defend the. You can't sort of say, oh, it's primarily the published art collectors. No, because I've seen it all across the board. It's like, oh, if you're a commission guy, I've seen people that are commission guys, right? Put down guys who only buy the already pre-made commissions. Oh, they don't want to take the risk, so they just buy it because it's already there. They know what they're getting. I swear to God, there's people who do that, right? And I've seen the opposite. So it's like it's all sort of little factions.
Sure.
Always bitching about each other. It's just, I guess it's human nature, whatever, right? People.
Ruben, I thought we weren't going to talk about exceptions on this show.
Hey, but you know what? Earlier, Comic Art Boston, and somebody agreed with him, said, he said, but there are actually many, many exceptions. They're not just a few, there are many. So whatever, we'll talk about exceptions.
I'm just playing, man.
No, I know. But okay, so Aranga, we haven't shown any of your art, man. Tell me a story that relates to at least one or two of those pieces. So
I think I know I sent you 3, but there's definitely 2 in there that represent the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum that I kind of talked about, right?
Okay.
Where one was felt very transactional.
Okay.
I didn't have a lot of interaction with the artist.
Which one was it?
You want to put the Hulk one up?
The Hulk one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Dale Keown, man, and Peter David are like the reasons I read comics today, right? It's the reason I fell in love. I've read comics before then, but this is what clicked for me. So like starting from like 383, that merged Hulk persona, that's what clicked for me. So when so I reached out to Dale's rep, okay, and I said, hey, I would love if Dale would do like a commission for me. The answer was no. He doesn't do commissions, especially at home. This was during the pandemic. Anyway, long story short, comes back to me, says, hey, because I told him I'd like a merged Hulk, and he doesn't get a lot of requests. He gets the Savage Hulks, da. So he was like, yeah, you know what? Dale's kind of interested in doing it. And then he told me the price, and it was jaw-dropping. Okay, for a guy who just started collecting comics, this was an exponential jump in price.
Yeah,
and he also said it could take up to a year for him to do it. I was like, you know what? That 10-year-old is never gonna freaking forgive himself if you don't do this. So sure enough, sight unseen, sent the money, and he wasn't kidding. Like it took a little bit over a year for me to get this, but because it took so long, and because I kind of mentioned to his rep like how much this issue meant to me, like it was my first blah blah blah. This was supposed to be just a single full figure of the Hulk, right? He put in backgrounds, he put in the Abomination, who was in that sewer in that first issue. So he went all out. Never had a single interaction with Dale.
Right.
Okay. Nothing. But this is without a doubt my favorite commission.
Oh wow! This is the one.
Yeah, this is the one. This is like this one. It's hanging up behind me, like right there. So when I'm in conference calls for work or on this show, I can still look at it. It's still like right behind me. No, there's it's not even a question. It's not close. This is the one that triggers.
Not that it's not fabulous, but yeah, I mean when you sent me the images, it's not like you hinted or anything about that. Wow, this is the one.
It is the one.
I had no idea.
It is the one. I peaked really early.
Wow.
With this shit. this was like great. 20.
But that's what makes it so great. This hobby, man. Like this is why another reason why people kept asking, why are you doing this show with the commission guys? Who gives a shit? This is why, because I love to hear that goddamn story he just told me. Right? He's so happy. I could see the genuine joy and love, coming out, it's oozing from you.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about, man. We're here to have fun. It's a hobby. Yeah,
I'm gonna give you a little postscript to that story. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna get something. Okay?
Oh yeah, for sure. And actually,
so that was the commission, right?
Right.
Earlier this year, I managed to pick up a page.
Oh yeah, that page
from 383.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is the original book, the dog-eared freaking book that I have.
Okay.
So I managed to pick up a page from that book. Let me tell you, I love this. Okay, when I look at it, there's an incredible love for it. But that
sucker, love the other one better.
But that sucker, the emotional kind of thing I got from it, cannot be replaced by this for me personally.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, this still made me misty-eyed when I got it.
Yeah.
But holy shit, my wife was like, "Are you crying, you freaking baby?" Like, when I got that.
No, and look, like I said, right? Art touches people in different ways for a myriad of different reasons. So it is what it is, right? It had its connection to you. You had your connection to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it did for you. That's it. Like, nobody needs to even understand. And most people, I think it's one of those situations where most people, they probably couldn't understand unless they were in your shoes.
Sure, absolutely, man. 100%.
Yeah. So it's
such a personal experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very unique to you, and that in your case, when and how it happened. So for sure, no, I think that's what's awesome, and that's what I love about this all. So again, that's why I wanted to do this. Exactly. So thank you for sharing that. That's really great. Now, Jabo, you also had sent me. Here, let me go check it out here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you sent me a couple of pieces, and I want you to talk about them if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, whatever story or whatever you want to say, whatever comes to mind you want to say about them. I believe you said.
Oh, God.
No, I was going to say, I was going to. Well, do you have a preference as to which one I put up first?
Yeah, I show the Rogue actually, because I was going to.
That's the one I was going to do, anyways. Okay,
that's
excellent.
fair.
So. Take a look, everybody. Take a look at the lusciousness. Okay, so go ahead and speak to your heart's content here.
All right. Well, the artist on this one is Stephen Defendini. He lives in Jersey. He's not a published artist. He's an art teacher at a high school.
Wow.
He's not a published dude.
This guy's teaching high school art.
Yeah,
when he's capable of doing that level of wow.
Look him up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Like I said, it's Stephen Defendini.
Yeah.
His art is absolutely mind blowing. He just gets better and better.
Yeah.
So, and this is my favorite piece of my collection. I adore this piece. It's big. It's like 12 by 18. It's a big piece. It's one of the ones on my wall. But I was actually going to bring this up when it comes to the commissions, where the one thing I really loved about where it started is something similar to what this is, right? This is an unpublished dude who just hangs out in Artist Alley. And I love commissioning people who are just chilling in Artist Alley. I mean, hell, like a Rango, like I commissioned you before I ever knew who you were.
Oh, a long time ago. Yeah, you did.
But I love that. That's one of the things I love, seeing somebody's art, their style, and being like, hey, fuck it. You know what? Here's money. Draw me a Rogue or a Gambin or a Wolf or whoever. Let me see your work. So at least I feel like I'm helping them. They're going to give me something pretty awesome. And it's what I've been doing for so long. Because even at the beginning, back in the day, like half the stuff I would get was from people from Artist Alley. And that's how I met guys like Marcus Tower, like Francis Manipal. They were hardly published guys.
Wait a second, Jabo. Sorry to interrupt, but you keep this is not the first or even the second time you keep mentioning Canada. So you went to Fan Expo, and then now these guys you're mentioning, I believe, are all Canadian guys, aren't they?
They are Toronto guys, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but you're not from here, right?
No, I live in Buffalo.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'm right.
Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
We're basically Canadian. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that's how I discovered a lot of guys who have become friends over the years, or where I have a lot of art from. And it's just it's from good old Artist Alley at conventions. And it's just I love supporting artists like this. And then this is sometimes the kind of piece you get by rolling those dice, right? And I knew that Stephen was a very good artist. But when I had him do this, and I won't even discuss how criminally cheap this piece was.
Oh no! You don't want to come on. You don't want to reveal it.
No, it was just it should have been probably 5 or 6 times more than what I paid for it.
Okay.
So,
I feel like you're gonna say it was less than $200, and I'm starting to get like sweaty. Like, I'm not a commission guy, but like, let me get in touch with this guy because I'm telling you right now.
Oh, he's
like,
not the cheap.
I've studied illustration my entire life, and one look at this guy is like beyond, like, this is pro level. So this guy could get pro work as a, whether it's, if you wanted to work in this industry, he could be a cover artist, whatever. This guy is pro level. I'm shocked that this guy just is happy enough to go and teach art at a high school and then just set up at shows on weekends. I mean, that's wild to me,
I think the only show he sets up at is New York Comic Con.
Wow.
It's the only place I've ever seen him.
Wow.
And like we met him through like a private like Zoom meeting, and like and we were friends on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But yeah, no, like this is one of the reasons like I love commissions, because like I got this in and I'm like, it's a piece that'll never leave my collection. I mean, it immediately got framed, it immediately went on my wall, and I don't think it'll ever go anywhere.
Yeah, no, I would imagine. I mean, no, like, it's beautiful, and on top of it, when there's something to be said about getting pieces when like it you in your head you're like, wow, not only was it phenomenal quality, but it was dirt cheap, right? And you're like, you can't help thinking, oh my God, I can't believe, like, oh my God, how cheap it was. And of course it's never.
And it's nice too that since it's been done, I mean, this is a couple years old now, but like I'm in pretty constant conversations with like Steven now. Like we discuss just life, right? Like we've become like friends. And it's nice. It all started with this, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, and I got a lot of like commissions like that where it's like the art's the beginning of the story, or it's the beginning of the relationship, where maybe I won't get any more pieces from them, but now like I know that I could drop him a text or send him an email and we could just discuss life, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
And I can attest to that.
Good night. Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I can attest to that with Jabo. Like this was, I don't know, like he was maybe the 5th or 6th guy to ever commission me. And we became friends from that point on. Like we would just chat, just drop, kind of messages to each other. And then eventually just kind of like, here we are on freaking shows together and shit.
Right.
No, and that's cool, right? That's the another benefit of this hobby. It's you can make friends. That's often worth more than the art that you have in some cases. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You can't put a price on friendships. If they're real, if they become real friendships, right? Like, there's you can't quantify that as well. So
it could also be like a little different, right? Because there's such a transactional element to published art. A lot of times you're not necessarily buying it directly from the artist. You're the 3rd, 4th, 5th owner. You're buying it from a rep, a dealer, whatever it is. So you never truly get to make that connection with the person that made the art. Whereas with commissions, it's a great little side benefit. That's also sometimes the primary benefit. To doing it.
Exactly. And Hart, Hart. Look,
Hart, I'll be your friend, buddy.
I already consider you my friend. Anytime you want to come on the show, now that I know that you got burned 25 times, I'm like, why didn't you tell me ahead of time? I would love to have had you on this show. Oh my God. If you ever want to come on, man, I'll just have you for 2 hours telling me about each of those 25 experiences.
Yeah.
But
you'd have 3 of us like waxing poetic about commissions and Hart going, yeah, you know what? Fuck that guy.
Nope, yeah, exactly.
Fuck that
guy. But I'm serious, Hart. I don't know if you're one of those guys who doesn't want to be on camera, but then that would be cool if you are. But if you ever want to come on, whatever, talk to me, man. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. Holy shit. That'd be great. But okay, cool. All right. So you know what? Since man, time flies. So an hour and 40 in, I since we still have more art, let me get to some more art and have you guys still tell me some more stories about that. Let me do actually Javo, do you mind going again?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about Georges Gentil.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh my God, what an awesome guy. So 4C Comics was doing like a live stream, and they had him on there, and Ken knows how much of a fan I am of George. Okay. So he let me come on the show, and I just got to geek out with him for like a little while. It was super fun,
right?
Because he's my favorite Gambit artist.
Okay.
I love the book he did. And this is actually a recreation of his cover to issue 25 of the first series, which I just adored. I love that cover so much. So I reached out to him afterwards to get a commission from him because like I needed something from him on my wall, and he knew how much from talking to him how much I love this cover, and this is what he did for me. He's like, well, if I would draw this cover now, this is what it would look like. You know, I would change the angle a little bit. I would make it a little bit more dynamic, and he wouldn't show it to me. He would send it to me, and then I open up the package, and the Rango's kind of like you. Like I had like a tear in my eye because I was like, holy shit! Like this is literally like the perfect piece for my late 90s Gambit loving ass, right? Like this is just like the perfect collection spot. That's why I had it shared like here because it's again one of my favorite commissions. And it wasn't anything crazy. It's not from like I guess as like named artists go. It's not by anywhere near like the biggest in my collection, but like every time I see this piece, I just smile. Because it's like it brings me back to like that book, that conversation that I had with him, especially because like being East Coast, he doesn't often make his way this far, so it's really nice.
Where is he based?
I think he's in Florida.
Yeah. And he never comes up here, or at least he hasn't for the big ones, right? Like I've never met him at Expo or New York.
But do you guys know? Because I've known of him since the '90s, but. I never asked. And me, if you know me, you know I'm always obsessed about this stuff. But his background, I am assuming he's Haitian. Do you know if that's correct? Just by his name.
Yeah, just the French connection to his name. I don't know. Maybe Haitian.
But do you know if he's American born, or do you know by any chance?
His accent is American all the way from what I understand. But I'm sorry. You spent an entire day talking to him.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, he's the conversations I've had with him. I mean, it was if there's an accent, it's like you can't hear it. So
okay, cool.
But that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's
yeah.
Who knows?
No, for sure. No, okay, no, and that's a fun Gambit commission. So
yeah,
I don't know if you saw it.
It's the best type of commission too. You to love, it's the best type of commission for you to love it that much.
Oh yeah,
someone who means whose work meant a lot to you. I mean, shit. Can you beat that?
And Jumbo, what did you just say about I don't know if I just saw what?
Oh no! If there's like a theme with most of my collection, it's pretty much all Gambin Rogue. So
well, I don't know because your calf gallery only has 2 pieces at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll get there eventually.
Look at the wall behind him, Ruben. Look at the wall behind him.
I know. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever. But it's kind of it's kind of a tough angle to sort of.
It's Gambit and Rogue and Robin.
Rogue, Gambit, Rogue.
There it is.
There's Robin.
and actually, speaking of Rogue and Gambit, because this brings an interesting question to me, to you, Jabo. So what I've noticed as a published art guy, both on the collecting and dealing side, right, over the years, I've noticed that there's I guess you could call it smallish, but there are people out there who will buy published pages that happen to have both Rogue and Gambit together, because they're fans of, I guess, the romance when they had that romance for years or whatever, right? And so they collect those pages just because of that. And I'm just curious, being a fan of both characters, and but now that I know you're hardcore commission guy, do you never does it not ever appeal to you to say like, ooh, like if I ever showed you a page for $300, hey, look, it's got Gambit and Rogue on it, you would not really care enough to buy?
No, I buy pages.
Oh, you do buy pages? Okay.
Yeah, I buy pages too. But I will say, buying pages that have both of them on it are pricey.
Well, but that isn't that only true? Isn't that only true though when it's sort of, like with anything else, the bigger name artists, and because you typically find them in X-Men comics, so all the X-Men art tends to be more
a lot of times.
You know,
They because I have a couple pages that I grabbed from the Rogue and Gambit miniseries that they did by Pepe Perez, I believe his name is, and they were great. But even those were like almost talking head pages, and I was paying $300-400 a piece. But yeah, no, it's
how much?
What's that?
How much did you say?
Between $300-400.
Oh, okay.
So it's nothing crazy.
Okay.
But they weren't action pages either. But yeah, no. I'm always on the lookout for Gambit and Rogue pages, or vice versa, or them together. It's but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like finding a Kubert page is or a Joe Mad page that's probably not going to happen within my budget. But even some of the other ones, like the smaller artists, like the have caught on that Rogue specifically sells very well. So those pages have jumped up pretty tremendously, which is okay, like I said. But if I find them at a good deal, yeah, I definitely still buy them.
Okay, interesting. Okay, because I just had the last 4 Sundays were sales shows for me, and I had been putting up a selection of X-Men Legacy pages. Most of them were featuring Cyclops and Professor X, and there wasn't really any interest in those. And then, so I had planned these shows in far in advance. But then right before, I think it was the 3rd show, I was flipping through some stuff in my walk-in closet here, and I realized, oh shit, I when I put these 4 episodes together, like a total of 170 pages of art I offered, right? I didn't realize, there was a couple of portfolios that were not in the right place. And so I looked through them, and I was like, shit. I think I might have to do a 5th show. And the art all belongs to the inker, Andrew Hennessy, because I represent him,
Cool.
And so then I was like, oh man, I think I know, because it's overkill, right? And I get it. It's like, what, 4 weeks in a row of one inker, maybe, a handful of different artists from a handful of different titles. So I get it. It was a lot with such a narrow sort of selection, right? But I'm looking through these other binders, and I'm like, oh yeah, but look, there's more now. I've got some X-Men Legacy pages, and I'm like, here's a couple of nice, cool-looking pages with Rogue and Gambit. I'm like, there's collectors who like that stuff. I probably have to do another show and show these and offer these. You know what I mean? So whatever. So I just
or you could do a side deal with Jabbo.
I said, or you just
show them to you afterwards. I could.
We'll meet back in the back room. It'll be fine.
Exactly. Excellent. We'll talk later. But okay. So because I just to let everybody know, I on the non-sale shows, there's this de facto, 2 hours or less kind of thing. I try to keep it to, because I don't know, there's a lot of content out there that goes way longer than that, and people get pissed or whatever, or just they get tired. So I kind of want to keep it to 2, but I noticed it's only 12 minutes away from the 2-hour mark.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. So but see, here's the nice thing about one of the reasons I decided when I started this channel, one of the reasons I decided I wanted to pick 8 o'clock rather than, let's say, 9. I was considering 9 or 10 even. But I thought, 8 is good, because if anything that goes 2 hours, it's only 10 o'clock when we finish, if we can finish in 2 hours, right? So that's still pretty good, right? It's better than finishing at 11, 11:30, whatever,
Yeah.
So I just want to say, I want to put it out there. If these guys are still cool, and as long as not everybody drops out when we hit the 2-hour mark, if we're still having fun, I mean, we'll keep talking. So I hate putting that self-imposed limit, just because I feel other people, that's what they want. And I don't even know if that's really true or not, but I feel like it is. But I don't know. But anyways, I just want to put that out there. But
I don't have a hard stop, Ruben.
Yeah.
So if you want to go a little bit beyond that time, I'm good with it.
Okay. And if any either Jabba or Derek need to drop out, you drop out. Whatever. I mean, that's the cool thing about the YouTube, right? It's not network television, so people do whatever they want, and stay or go, come and go as you please, whatever.
No, I don't have any hard stop. I'm good.
Okay, cool. So with that though, I wanted to say, because somebody posted here, Professor, who was it? Give me a second. Somebody listed. Oh, so was it Marcus? Okay. So what if it was Professor X in the X-Men book? So first of all, Marcus, I'm not even sure if you're being sarcastic or not, because I don't really know what the question is, since it was in reference to something we were talking about earlier. Or were you asking about what if the art of Gambit and Rogue together were from an X-Men? Because I think I just saw.
I think that's what he's asking.
Okay, I don't know if it's a serious question or not, but I think I've been seeing pages from those Professor X and the X-Men and X-Men Adventures selling for good money these days, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Nice pages, good characters. So yeah, thank you, CJ. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's true. I never stop to say, hey, if you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing and hit the like button. That's otherwise known as the thumbs up button. I would really, really appreciate it. Yeah, so but let me segue if you don't mind, Aranga, because we still have a couple of pieces from you, or you know what, guys, if you want, I actually uploaded a couple of pieces of my own commissions. Hey, we talked about exceptions, right? We talked about exceptions. There's exceptions.
All right, hit us with it, bro.
Okay, all right. So let's do that. So I brought 3 in case. So the first one, it's the first commission I ever did. And I'll tell you here, where is it now? Right at the bottom. Here we go. Okay, so I mean, these are all in my gallery, so you know, people have probably seen them, whatever, but that's fine. So this is Red Sonja by Mel Ruby. So I got this, and again, exception. So why is it an exception? Well, aside for me from the fact that I'm not a commission collector, right? It's also an exception because of the fact that the reason I said, okay, I don't have to really worry about the risk with this is because at the time, this is 2007, I was representing Mel Ruby, right? So yeah, so I had just taken, I think it was one of, I'd only ever taken opened up 2 commission lists for him. This was from the first one. So he opened up, he said, yeah, take some commissions, whatever, let's try it out, you know? And I said, okay, what the hell? I filled up, you know, whatever the amount of slots he wanted. I think he put 15 or 20 or something like that. And he only wanted to do, it was interesting. He only wanted to do, just tell them I only want to do single character, pencils only. That's it, you know? So I said, oh, okay, that's pretty simple. It simplifies everything, I guess, for everybody. And so I figured, okay, whatever. I'll add myself at the back of the list, right? And I put myself as, I guess, if I think he took 15, and I made myself number 16, you know? And so he, at the time, I think he was just finishing his run on the relaunched Red Sonja title that Nick Barucci, our buddy Nicky B at Dynamite, had just, you know, he had just gotten the license for her. Or so he was either on it or finishing. I can't remember the exact timeline. But so I figured, okay, whatever. If you know, he's the Red Sonja artist, the main guy. What else am I going to get? I got to get Red Sonja. The thing I loved about this is that, I kid you not here, I gave him, I had, so this pose, what you see there, I'm not even exaggerating in the least when I say it came out 100% exactly like I envisioned it in my head, and I took 4 lines of an email to describe to him. So that, like, literally, it was 4 lines. I said, you know, so I want the camera from above. I want her turned in a 3/4 turn pose. I want her arms crossed underneath the breasts, you know, so all those kinds of things. And I even said, like, the camera from above should be, roughly 2 feet above her, you know? And I was like, wow, when he gave it to me, I was like, oh my God, it's exactly what I was picturing in my mind. I mean, I didn't, you know, I've seen so many of my friends and you know, and other collectors with commission collectors, you know, they ask for this, that, and the other, and they get something completely different, you know? And so for me to get this and to have it turn out exactly, like literally exactly what I pictured and described to him, I was like, wow, like talk about lucky. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like how
not to mention
to you guys,
not to mention it's so well done. Like that is such a tough, the human body in that angle
Right.
is so hard to capture.
That's it.
And he nailed it.
That's it. The
Nailed it.
foreshortening and the perspective, and from that perspective, it's very difficult to get it
Very hard, man.
to get the anatomy correct, right? And that's
Yeah.
why I was like, what?
And he smoked it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But to my point, my question, what I was asking is, how often has that happened to you guys?
I don't art direct.
No,
So it's an exception. Like I don't. So maybe Derek would be the best one to answer that question. Unless like the artist says so. Like I have Cable, Ghost Rider, Mystique, that I kind of, and Archangel to a certain degree, that I pick as based on what the artist might be good at drawing. That I pick. So sometimes they'll come back to me and they'll ask me, "Hey, what version of Ghost Rider? Do you want Danny Ketch? Do you want Johnny Blaze?" And usually I'll say, "Hey, Johnny Blaze is who I kind of gravitate towards, but you do you." Artyom Trakanov said, "You know, can I do Robbie Rodriguez? Because I had an idea for the car." And I was like, "Dude, go for it." Because like if you seem inspired by something, go for it. But I generally don't art direct. I give very simple instructions. Hey, can I get this guy? And I try to. But I've done all the upfront work to understand what their output is like.
Yeah.
So, you know, I won't go to a guy that does amazing tech and say, "Can you draw me a Mystique?"
Yeah, right. I
Yeah.
get you. Yeah.
So sorry, I'll shut up.
No. That's cool. I just wanted to highlight Ronald's comment. Ronald, listen, man, look. So Ronald, just so you guys know, Ronald's a guy, a collector. I don't know what the proper name. This is probably semantics again, but he. So I met him in the live chat of Nikki B's Friday night show, the EXP, right? The Original Art Experience, Friday nights at 7. And he buys a lot of, I guess, what I call comic cover sketches, the blank covers, comic book covers. And so, yeah, so even though I was only showing in the last 4 weeks published art for sale, Ronald was still coming in here. You were coming in here and supporting me every week, even though it wasn't your thing. And I really appreciate that. Like I can't tell you how much, Ronald. So thank you very much. And thank you for your comment. You're very welcome, because again, like I said, from the top of the show, I said many times, it's not about whether I'm into it or not. There's still interest in finding out why other people are so interested in certain things, other aspects of this hobby, right? It's also about learning about other parts of the hobby, learning about how other people think about the hobby. You know what I mean? So you're very welcome, and thank you for being here. So it's my pleasure. Believe me, thank you so much. And so Aranga, if you're cool, can I go to another piece of yours?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to select which of the 2 pieces we have?
No, just put them up, dude. I'll let the motor mouth run.
Okay, cool. Because, all right, I guess it doesn't really matter. I want to hear what you got to say about both of them. So let's go with the hot guy of the moment, DWJ.
Okay. So all right. This is on the other end of the experience spectrum. Okay. This was I think early 2020. It's the last time DWJ took a at-home 9x12 list. So this is a 9x12 piece.
Oh, it's an at-home one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is not a con, because the con pieces are like 6x9.
Yeah.
This is a 9x12 full piece. So Felix dropped the list. I got on the list.
Yes.
Said, "Hey, here's," and my art direction was Galactus. That's it. One word. I want Galactus.
Oh,
okay. The money. Now, what happened here was, in terms of the experience, was this is right when DWJ had started doing his YouTube channel. And so I've been following this guy for like years, right? I mean, from Extremity onwards. So he started doing his YouTube channel, and I'd watch his YouTube channel constantly. He started this commission. So basically he started doing the layout for it, right? He does thumbnails for it. So his first iteration of it was like an overhead view of Galactus walking through a city, just massively. And he was trying to like fisheye lens it, etc. And as he was working on it, and I thought it looked brilliant, like just a tiny thumbnail that he was working on. It wasn't working in his head for some reason. And in between doing that, like literally he went, Oh my god! And he scrapped that piece of paper and he started laying this out, just like freaking Athena springing fully formed from the brow of Zeus, right? Like, just, I mean, penciling it. He's like, I think I'm going to do this. It's going to be a view from inside the cockpit.
Yeah.
And so he did that on one show. Immediately, like the second show, he did the pencil and layout work. So I watched this entire commission from the kernel of an idea to the finished product. And it's still available if anyone wants to go check it out. Check it out on his YouTube channel. It's split into 3 different episodes. I watched this entire commission come to life. And then I would chat with him. But there was a part of me was like, shit, what if someone else had also asked for Galactus and I'm getting like super excited about this piece and it's not mine? So I reached out to him on social media and we chatted, and he was like, he looked at the back and because he'd write the name on the list, and he's like, hey, yeah, this is yours. And so I got to talk with him a little bit about it. I would meet him at a con, and like he would be like, hey, you got the Galactus, so he would kind of remember me from that. And then at SDCC this year, just because I like having pictures of creators with like the commissions that they did, so I took this out of the frame, and at SDCC, what was it, last weekend, I went up to him and I was like, hey, Dan. And I took the picture out and he was like, holy shit, you brought it with you. And I managed to get a picture with him and the art. And so from beginning to end, this was, in terms of interaction, amazing. And you notice I haven't said a word about how much I love the commission, which I do, but like the experience of it was equally fantastic.
Yeah. No, listen. Again, everything comes out in the intonation of your voice. I mean, do I have to say it? Like, this is why I wanted to do this. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. I mean, you say no more, right? Like, I mean, when you showed me that, I was like, again, and I don't say this in a derogatory way at all. A lot of your guys' pieces made me go, wow, right? Like, I love them. And no matter how much I love them, it still does not even momentarily make me want to go out and commission people.
Sure.
Right. But it doesn't have to. It has to move me. It
has to move me and Jabo and Derek.
It already has, right? You've already paid for it. It's your thing. What I'm saying is, when you share it, which is what you've done with me, you shared it with me. Well, I mean, I would think that you would hope that I would, whether it was me or anybody else, that you would hope that I would appreciate it at least, or like it or whatever, right? And I'm not just blowing smoke up your asses. Like, I was like, oh, this is so fun. This is all cool stuff. Because again, I don't have to own it. I don't have to have that desire to own it. Doesn't mean I can't admire it and enjoy it vicariously through your own collections. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep.
So that's it, man. That's all I'm saying. And when I saw that piece, I was like, holy shit! Like I'm not a science fiction guy, but I'm a horror guy. I love science fiction visuals, but I don't like to watch and read science fiction. But I saw it. I was just like, whoa, this is like some kind of horror sci-fi. Galactus, like, what's happening here? I could see this at the theater. This crazy white screen, I'm like, whoa, what's happening? I could just imagine it happening on a screen. It was like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's amazing,
Yeah. He turned Galactus into a kaiju, is what he did.
Basically.
Right? Like, even the face, like, there's emotion, but it's almost zombie-like, the face.
Yeah.
That's it. So, it was...
That's what I'm saying when I say it's got these elements of science fiction, but horror as well.
Yep, 100%.
It's just like, wow, yeah. So that was, yeah. So
no one's ever kind of put it that way. So I appreciate that, Ruben.
No, it's my pleasure. Believe me. So Dino says incredible. It certainly is. Ronald, I know you came in late, and we've talked about this already. So you might want to check it out on the rewind a little bit later, or over the next few days when you have some time.
Can I say something for Ronald? I think it's applicable to all three of us. So I'm not just volunteering these other two guys as well. But like, we all have calf galleries. Ronald, if you want to reach out to one of us, and ask us a question or whatever, I would be more than happy, and I'm sure all of them would be too, to give you a rundown of some poor experiences.
Yeah, and Ronald, and for everybody watching, especially those of you who are typically too shy to get involved with the commenting live in the chat, who are just watching silently, go down in the description below this video, right in the description, right below my description. You're going to see tons of links for all of us. All four of us have our links there, whether it's the CAF galleries, podcasts, what have you. So check that out, please.
Hey, Ruben, before I forget, when you were talking about art direction, and I know Arango was kind of volunteering me as possibly having more experience, right? Like,
Did you just call him Geraldo?
No. No, I did not.
As in
No, but I guess what I was going to say about that is I think you have to know your audience, right? Like, because there are some people, for example, Tom doesn't want any art direction, right? He just, he wants to know what characters and what costumes, and then he's going to go to town, right? That's sure. And so you have to sort of know those things ahead of time and be willing to relinquish some of that art director control in certain instances. You might not get your Red Sonja in your, Justice League International, overhead shot, where she's like, want to make something of it or whatever. Like, you might not necessarily get that if you go that particular route. And then some other people, they really want direction. Like if you just tell them, oh, give me Red Sonja, and that's all you say, they go, no, I need more than that. What do you want Red Sonja to do, right?
Right, because some of the guys, they just want to get it done. And a lot of the work, especially in published work, right? Monthly artists, a lot of the daily grind is at the start of the day when they have to do all the thinking. How am I going to lay the damn page out today? You know what I mean? You can waste it easily, depending on the person, an hour to two, just trying to work out the layout, right? How you're going to do your panels or whatever. So same thing with the commissions, right? Some guys are just like, man, I don't want to struggle, because some guys have a harder time with coming up with something interesting, let's say, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll tell the commissioner, yeah, give me more detail. Like, what exactly do you want? That way they don't have to do any thinking, and okay, boom, good, I'm good to go. I can start getting into it with the pencil right away, as opposed to, oh God, I might have to struggle here. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and I mean, this might not work for everybody, but I've had various experiences where, like you said, you described it in a few sentences, but I've also
literally four, I remember.
Yeah. But I've also taken the approach where I've said, oh, this back cover, and if you don't, here's a reference to this back cover. I would like the characters in the foreground to be the main characters, and these kind of shadowy figures overhead to be the background characters. Just like, I guess, I don't have an example of it. I didn't give you a slide, but for the last piece I gave you, what I gave as reference was the back cover to a comic book called Ghost Rider Crossroads, and in that it's Dan Ketch and Johnny Blaze, and then overhead is the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider and the Dan Ketch Ghost Rider, and so they're like hovering over in the background. And when I asked for this, I mean, this is basically Richard Carson racing Johnny Blaze on the beach. Like, that's basically what I asked for. And for me, the notion was just, hey, Richard Carson was a stunt driver in L.A. Johnny Blaze was a stunt driver in L.A. I was like, dude, they have to have known each other, even though it's never happened in any Marvel comic. Like, they must know each other. And all I wanted was, these are two buds having a little friendly race on the beach, but overhead, it's that kind of classic kind of Marvel thing of like, guess who they really are? They're really, the Spirit of Vengeance, and they're really the pilot of Raideen of the Shogun Warriors, and maybe they don't know that about one another. All they know is that they're both, stunt racers in LA, right? And so that was my whole idea. But to communicate that, aside from the sentences, aside from giving a bunch of visual reference of, this is what Raideen looks like, this is what Richard Carson looks like, this is the motorcycle that Johnny Blaze should be writing when he was living in Los Angeles, and this is the version of the Ghost Rider, the blue tone suit that I'd like. The other thing I gave as reference was, you see the back of this Crossroads cover, like I'd like something akin to that, right? And that was, I mean, it wasn't a sentence, but that was my quote unquote art direction. So sometimes like that might be a trick or I don't know, like a clever hack when you're trying to commission things, is like, hey, I can't verbalize what I want, but I can kind of show you something akin to what I want that someone else has done or laid out. And can you I'm not saying like copy that, but just can you do something that evokes that a similar feel or vibe?
Right.
Dude, that's so cool, Derek. I love that. I don't know if I've seen it before. I love that piece.
Cool. And I guess you're talking about stories. So that was something where it was great to work with Scott Kress, but that was my first commission, like first ever. And so it went to Ron Friends, and then it went to Brett Breeding, and that was before I knew what blue lines were or blue linings and everything. And I think Scott was trying to give me the heads up, but I didn't even know what he was getting at the time, because he was like, you want Brett to ink on the pencils? And I was kind of like, yeah, isn't that what people do? Like, yes, I want him to ink on the pencils. And he's like, you sure you want him to ink on the pencils? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so, and there was a timetable and all that stuff, and it all went according to Hoyle. And so when I got it, I was like super thrilled, because that was like just something in the kernels of my head that they were able to bring to life. And it probably applies to the whole, failed artist thing, because it's something I would have liked to try to draw myself, but I think I would have messed it up completely. So I was like, oh, I want somebody who's like a solid, Marvel artist to bring that to life, and it'll look perfect. And so that happened, and it was great. But again, talking about what Oranga was saying about the transactional, it's like I never really talked to Ron Friends. I think he shared it on Facebook. I think we exchanged maybe a couple IMs or posts or whatever. I said, thank you very much for this. And it was very, cordial and everything, but there was no in-person interaction. But fast forward to Heroes Con this year, Ron Friends and Scott Kratz were both there, because Ron Friends was at the convention. And what was funny was I was going to go to wait in line and get some posters and things signed. But I walked up to Scott and I said, I'd just like to shake your hand. It's nice to meet you. Like, and his instant reaction is, I'm not Ron Friends. Like, that's Ron Friends. And I'm like, no. I'm here to say hello to you, because we were the, I was like, I'm the guy who commissioned, the Ghost Rider Ray Dean thing. And he's like, oh shit, I remember that. Like, that was crazy, like, and everything like that. And then you hear Ron Friends go, oh yeah, that was a weird one, or whatever. And so and I'm like, guys, go, it was unique. Okay. And so I get in line, and then I meet Ron and everything like that. But that was that, that again, then coming back full circle, like, then that's I guess retroactively attributing like the personal interaction that it was lacking. So I guess another creative hack is it's never too late, right? You can do what Oranga did and bring the piece in person. You can go say hi to somebody that you had the non-personal transaction with when they're at a con, and go, hey, remember me? Like, I did this or whatever. And then they can go, oh yeah, I remember that. And then I guess it's kind of like when a commissioned piece becomes a published piece, and then it retroactively attributes that value to it. Well, this is a other unique hack where if you go and have that personal interaction maybe years after you did the commission, it then retroactively attributes like a fun personal story to add to the whole experience.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say that earlier, talking about, how much art direction you want to do, this and that, because some guys want it, some guys don't want it. I feel not, and again, this doesn't come from commission collecting. This just comes from having spoken to a lot of artists about the craft of creating art for comics, right? In my experience, from hearing from artists over the many years that I've, since I was into comic books back in the 80s, I have found that most of them, again, this may be different for you guys, but I have found that certainly the majority I tend to have told me they do prefer to be as less art directed. In other words, tell me the characters, the basic idea, but don't bother me with the details. Let me come up with that. You know what I mean? Let me just go at it. And because it's more creative, right? You get the creative freedom that way. And I want to say that for that Red Sonja I did, it was an exception in the sense that that picture was always in my head for whatever reason. And I was just like, I want that picture to be put down on paper. Let me see if Mel can do it. And that's why I didn't want to micromanage him. And that's why I said I made it sound like I micromanaged him because I specified like 4 different things. But like I said, it took 4 sentences, whatever. It wasn't as bad as it sounds, you know?
Yeah.
But then, and I can show you this, then 2019, I went to Terrificon, and good segue, Stanley, if you're still there, you asked me earlier, how is Terrificon, whatever. This is not really the time or place to really talk about it, but I ended up canceling. I didn't go. So I've been here all weekend. But at Terrificon 2019, I decided to get a commission from Juanjo Guarnido, who, for those of you who don't know, does this book called Blacksad, anthropomorphic animals in a sort of 1950s, 60s era detective, hard-boiled crime type series. And so, I said to him, I go, look, give me Natalie and Blacksad. I want Natalie to have a 1950s era black dress. And that's all I said, right? So this is what he gives me here. Where is it? Okay, so this is what comes back. Check this out. See, I hear the silence, right? Because
no. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece, but I see the issue.
No, absolutely, right? So he did this during the con, right? Because he's very fast, right? So I was walking around the con on the con showroom floor, and suddenly he's walking towards me, and he says, "Oh yeah, it's ready. You can go at the table. It's ready." And then I go to the table and I see this, and I'm like, of course, the first thing I think is, oh God, it's gorgeous, especially Natalie's her hips. I mean, the way he did the hips, right? Just the legs, the hips, the whole posture is just spot on, perfect.
Yeah, the body language is impeccable.
The body language is incredible. It's fantastic. So then my second thought is, okay, but she's wearing capri pants from the 1950s, not a long black dress. So, whatever. So then Jason, his rep starts saying, oh, sorry. Oh, whatever. Okay, well, if you don't want it, that's cool. Whatever. You don't have to take it. Well, that's cool. We'll keep it. We'll find somebody. We can probably sell it on the website or whatever, I loved it. So, because it's still a beautiful drawing, right? And I love the series. So I was like, look, it's not that I don't want it, because it's still great. So I'm not disappointed in the drawing. I'm just disappointed in that I didn't get what I actually asked for, and that what Juanjo had said yes to in front of my face, right? Because I didn't tell Jason this, by the way, just so you know. I spoke in Spanish to Juanjo, right? So I'm thinking there's nothing's gonna get lost in translation here, because I'm speaking his language, right? Like, should be cool. And it still got, I don't know, somehow it got lost in translation. So whatever. So what happened is here, I ended up saying, tell you what, I'll buy it. Let me keep it. And then I said, can he do a second one? I'll pay for a second one. And at this point, this was Saturday. I wasn't coming back Sunday. It was late in the day, Saturday. He says, look, he'll do it. We don't know if he can do it by the end of today. He's going to be in Toronto, soon. Are you going to be there? I said, no, but I have friends there. You can deliver it to them. Okay, fine. So all I want, Blacksad, Natalie in a black 50s era dress. That's it. Like, they were going out on the town. Okay, excellent. So my friends pick it up for me. They deliver it to me. This is what I got. So this is what I wanted. You know,
2 of these.
So yeah. So
I thought you were saying that you didn't understand why someone would do double duty, why they would go back at it again, but you just gave us the perfect example of you doing that.
He's only got 3 commissions, and 33% of them he's already broken his rule.
Yeah, I don't understand. It doesn't comprehend.
No, like, see, to me, I didn't consider that like the kind of screw job that has always kept me away from commissioning.
Yeah.
For me, there's, again, multitude of reasons, right? But that's not one of the main ones at the top of the list, right? Like, you didn't give me the clothing I asked for. It's lower on the list. Yeah. For me, the biggest reasons are the if I'm doing it through the mail, right, email or whatever, and then you start to, like a lot of guys, you dick around. Like, listen, most artists, or a piece like that, you do it in 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. But they make collectors believe that, it takes, I'm working so hard on this. Slowly, I'm busy, but I'm working on it. Oh, I'm still working on it. And they feed you all these lines of bull constantly. Oh, no, it's coming together real nice. No, it's not. You haven't started it. Most of these liars, they're liars. That's what they are. They're liars. Yeah. Okay? It doesn't take more than an hour or 2. Again, there's exceptions, guys, that are slower. But for most commissions, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. So for those of you who are out there constantly waiting months, weeks, years, it's because they don't care. I mean, I'm sorry to say that. They don't care about you, right? Most guys, they open a commission list when they need money. They do it because they need the money. They take the money. They spend it for whatever they needed it for. Now the money's gone. So psychologically, it feels like they haven't gotten paid.
Feels like they're doing it for free.
Right? It feels like, right, now I got to do the work.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like doing the work. Why? Because I have nothing to show for it. My money's gone, right? So it feels like I'm doing it for free. So I'll just keep putting it off. And then once these guys start hassling me, I'll start taking another commission list so I can get another influx of money. And then maybe I'll start slowly working on some of those older guys, and it's just on and on. So that's, for me, it's the dishonesty and the contempt, the sheer fucking contempt that so many artists have for their own fans. Yeah. It doesn't matter that you're a collector or whatever, that it's transactional. It's fans. These guys are, they're your fans, man. They've been supporting your work. You have a job in this industry because of the fans. And you are literally having so much contempt for them that you just take their money and blow them off. And by the way, I'm so adamant about that this whole aspect of what I'm talking about, right? I'm so adamant about that like I firmly have always believed, if you don't have the time to do a commission in the next 2 weeks, don't take the commission list. I don't want to hear that it's taking months, let alone years for some people. You know what I mean? Like, you're a liar.
Look, I get what you're saying, but there is the aspect where you have to be realistic about it, because if you come in making that edict, like, I'm going to get a commission from you, it's got to take you 2 weeks or I'm walking, you're not going to get any commissions, right? Like, and on top of that, you're not their primary customer. Like, I mean, you have to know that going into it. You're a side hustle. Like, if you don't know that you're a fucking side hustle, you got to get your brain checked. Like, you are not their primary source of income. Like, they are just doing this like, hey, I'm taking a list. And if you're taking a list, I mean, what? They're not going to bang them all out in a day and do 2 hours and do them all at once. Like, you have to have realistic expectations. If you come to know somebody, right, and you come to commission them more than once, you'll see their frame of work, right? And if you see, like, okay, look, if I get on this guy's list at, I don't know, April in 2021, I know I'm probably going to get it in April of 2022. And I get that, like, people are on pins and needles if they do it the first time and they're not sure if they're going to get screwed or not. But if you do it 2 or 3 times, I have no reservations about that. I have no reservations that I'm a number on a list and he'll get to me when he fucking gets to me. Like, as long as I get what I asked for and I get what I paid for. But, you know, that's, I mean, it's just a counter thing. Like, I appreciate what you're saying. Like, there's no doubt that there's people that are sitting there watching the latest season of whatever the fuck on Netflix and not working on your commission. No doubt, right? Or that they don't feel like shipping your art. But
Derek,
you know,
let's be more honest than that. If it's been months or longer, is it because they've been watching the latest season, doing whatever else? It's because they don't feel like doing and getting to the work.
Right.
Okay, let's be honest. That's what it is. So you get what I'm coming from. I get that, and I do get where you're coming from. And I guess that's one of the things that separates us. That's probably one of the probably many things that allows you guys to be able to be commission collectors, and it keeps me from ever really becoming one. You're able to put up with that, and that's what I admire, because I don't know how you do it. I would lose my shit on these guys if I saw them at a show, especially. And a lot of you guys, this happens to you. I know it happens to you. You guys are waiting for commissions forever. You go to a convention, the guy's there. And you're like cool, and you go up to him and nicely talk to him, trying to like not rock the boat. I would lose my shit on that mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know me. And to me, it's like it's the ultimate in disrespect. You're disrespecting me. You've been disrespecting me for months, and now I'm in front of your face. I wanna strangle you. I don't want to talk to you about, hey, how's my commission going? You getting any further along with it? Like, fuck that. Like, if you do that, you're giving them like the key to the kingdom of, oh, this guy, he's a spineless sap. I can push him along for another 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to say, I get where you're coming from. I can't get there. I can't do that because I know my personality. That's what I'm trying to say, you know?
Well, I mean, it's funny because the tirade's not necessarily adult, but the decision to not take the commission or not sign up for the commission because you know how you're going to react is the adult response, right? And the fact that you've sort of gone into a I don't know, written or even a verbal contract or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. So sometimes I just look at it as, okay, I'm already into it for this commission. I'm just hoping for the best, right? Like that's ultimately what it comes down to. Like I'm not trying to get pushed around. I certainly, like you said, there's certainly instances where you have to hold hands and kind of be like, hey, just like what you said, in the nicest, politest way possible, where the fuck is my shit? Like, really, like that's essentially what you're doing, right? Like, but I don't know, how does that come to be? It comes to be because people are human beings and they have lives and other responsibilities, and people are lazy and all. Everything you said is true as well. But I mean, if you really want that commission to be fulfilled, right? That's even if you think you're getting something for a steal, that it should be 5 times as much. Guess what? Part of the price you pay is not a price in dollars. It's a price in your time, your follow-up, your I guess what you're saying, to keep your cool, right? Like that's part of what you're paying with, right? And if you're not willing to pay that price, like you recognize you're not, then maybe commissioning's not for you. Right. And if you ever get to the point where you were willing to do that and be patient, but you find yourself having Ruben's reaction to it. Like if you ever find yourself having that reaction where you're going to lose your shit on somebody, it's time to stop, right? Because it's not fun. You don't love it. Like it's not healthy, right? So that's the time where you back the fuck out and don't do commissions anymore. I don't know. You focus on something else. You collect some other thing.
Yeah, I think it's fairly simple, man. Yes, there is an element of patience. I can also tell you, like, the amount of times that, I've had some experiences where I've had one experience of non-delivery. Okay, so that
that's a good one, CJ. I gotta admit, that's really good. Art murders.
But other than that, I mean, yeah, to Derek's point, yes, there is an element of patience involved. But I also feel like if people started out in the time that I did, with the amount of resources that are out there for you, the buyer beware groups, and you still reached out to those people and got commissions from them, that's on you. Yeah. You didn't do your homework. You just the fucking information's out there. I mean, there's people I won't commission because I know that they have a history of it. I mean, the roads are paved with the dead bodies of people waiting on commissions from these guys. Why would I think that, okay, this will be the time for me, for Aranga, like he's gonna be the exception to the rule? I think for a lot of these people, there's, do your research. And if you did your research and then got screwed, and that's bound to happen too. But at least you've mitigated your risks because it's out there. It's out there. If not, you're blaming, obliviousness on your frustration.
Yeah. Yeah, look, like I said, I guess that's what it really boils down to, right? That's why all the myriad reasons why, that it never sort of attracted me to do commissioning. That's what it boils down to. I don't like any of those reasons. I don't, I will lose my shit on people because I'm so big. Respect is everything to me. So, and to me, I just see all those little things that they do as disrespect. I don't feel like a lot of commissioners are willing to put up with a lot more than I am, right? The treatment that they have to put up with. And that's why I admire you guys, because I can't do it. I wish I could do it, I guess. I can't. But that's why
you should get out of the game completely and not have those 3 exceptions. Tell me one of those Blacksad pieces.
Well, those experiences are over already. And by the way, let me just make it clear that I want to make it very clear that the Blacksad Juanjo Guarnido experience was not bad.
No, it wasn't a poor experience.
I wasn't even mad for a second. I was just like, I looked at it. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, beautiful, but that can't be mine. Where's mine? Where's the black dress, right? So, no, and it was so nice, and I love the series. So, whatever. Like, so
I just think from a purity standpoint, you should stay pure and not have those conditions in the collection.
From the purity standpoint, right?
Yeah. Just don't have those things tarnishing your collection. Just because I love Blacksad and I love Juanjo. And I missed out on getting, because what I want to get is a Mystique done in his style, but
by who? Sorry, who?
By Juanjo.
Oh, by Juanjo. Okay,
yeah. So I missed out at Como when I was there and I saw him, and definitely, I love Blacksad. I think it's brilliant.
It's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. So ML. So Mikhail says, now I know why Ruben doesn't handle Perkins' commission list. Listen, I want to come out because I've never had an opportunity. So let me just take this moment to say, you're absolutely right, Mikhail. So I've been with Mike selling his art since 2005, right? So it's 17 years now. I told him from the beginning. I was like, yes, by the way, Mike, man, I don't want to do the commission thing. So if you like taking commissions, you're going to have to handle that on your own, because I can't deal with that shit, right? Like I especially like in those days, like that was another part of it too, that financially, single and double character commissions, no background was kind of the standard. And for most artists, it wasn't that expensive. So it's like, as a rep, you got to deal with all these guys micromanaging you, right? The way they would want to micromanage the artist. And it's back and forth emails, back and forth, spending all this time. And what? I'm going to get $20 in my commission out of this thing, whatever. Like, and it's just taking me hours to deal with every customer, So that's why I said, I was just like, no, I don't want to do it. But that being said, Mikhail, we're talking, and he's getting to the point where the commissions are getting in his way of his published, monthly work, whatever. I may be having to. I offered to take over because I felt I had let him down. I told him I probably let you down. I probably should have done it for you anyways, even though I couldn't stand to want to do it. But so yeah, whatever. He's busy now, whatever. But we'll be talking in the coming whatever weeks or whatever, and
we'll be waiting.
Yeah. So whatever. So, yeah. So,
I expect panelists to get like a preferential leg up. Just
shove you to the top. Yeah. Yeah. So whatever. But that's that. But let me quickly. Did we go through the last one? I showed. Oh yeah. I guess if I showed both Blacksads, I've shown all of mine. Okay, we've shown all the art then. Right? Because no, there's one more that I was saving that. Oh yeah, because I love this one. Oh, I love them. I love most of them anyways. But here, let me show you guys to jump into some art. It's the last piece for tonight. Oh, this is killer. Tell me about this one. Tell me about the artist, how it all came together, because I've never heard of this guy. This is like, look at the texture, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
I'm trying to now kind of remember the backstory of this because I should have. It's Patrick Reynolds. Okay, I can't remember who reps him, but I've been seeing his work around like for a few years. Just exponentially, everything I see or I was seeing coming from him was better than the last. But his work is just like soaked in atmosphere. It's all. I mean, the lighting on this, you nailed it with the textures, man.
Yeah.
The costume is a little bit more X-Force-ish when he was under, in the Dark Angel saga. I didn't give him any direction. I just said Archangel. Do you think I have a problem with the fact that that wing covers up most of his torso or whatever?
Who said
that? No.
Who said that?
No. There's some people.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So twisted in.
Yeah, right.
You said this was going to be an upper body. Or whatever. Exactly, yeah. This thing is just all freaking atmosphere, and it's another one where I went through his rep. But I was able to talk with Patrick after I saw the piece. Like, he reached out to me. We, great commission experience. Sweetheart of a guy. Yeah. This is right up there as one of my favorites as well, because it was also unexpected. I didn't expect to love it to this degree, but it's holy shit. I mean, the lighting. I mean, it's incredible.
Everything about it.
Yeah.
Everything about it is, and actually, it's funny that you mentioned about how some commissioners will react, right, and say, oh, but you see what, like 20% of the guy's body, like from the shoulder, sort of upper torso, and covered with the wing or what. Nah, but it's so artistic. That's what makes it so different and great from most other typical standing there posing, going, hey, or whatever, that's part of what makes it even greater.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hart asked, it's a 9x12 Hart. So it's not, a large 11x17 LO. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. There's people that get really twisted into knots in the minutia. Like, hey, this was supposed to be like a fucking torso. But look at this thing, man. You couldn't have art directed something better than this. Like, there's a horror element to it. Like the lighting, it looks, he looks otherworldly. He embodies death right there, man. Like, I wouldn't want to meet this mofo in a dark alley.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I saw it, I was like, death has come for someone. Somebody's about to die here, I think. Like, I don't know, or somebody has died. Like, it's yeah, it's
exceptionally skilled artist, super nice guy. Out of I think he lives in Utah.
Okay.
He does he had a book recently. I think it's an ongoing Bloodstained Teeth, I believe it's called, out
Okay.
of through Image. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked his work out, whoo, the man can draw the shit out of stuff.
Well, let me in that perfect segue here, because I did load one more piece. I forgot. I just saw it here. Speaking of drawing the shit out of stuff, everybody, thank you for those of you still hanging out. I know the audience has dropped a lot because we've gone into 2 hours and 40 minutes, but I love talking about art. It's better than sales shows. I want to do more of these. Anyway, sorry it's going long. I get it. But
Hey, I want to point out that Mikhail said it's hard to see Aranga in a dark alley. That was basically because I'm brown, but he's also a brown guy a little bit.
well, he's a brown brother
yeah,
of
that's
yours.
why he's
There we go.
so racist, Mikhail.
Yeah. Hold on. Where's the damn? There we go. Here we go. Hard to see Ranga in a dark alley. He's always been very racist.
But I'm also almost always smiling, so you can pick me up.
That's how they'll always find you, you know. But yeah. So another guys, another a newer artist. I discovered also last year. I wanted to show this because this piece kicks ass. I don't know if you guys have seen. Listen, I got to preface this by saying this is the only time I'm going to show you this piece. The only time in my life that I can remember in my life, in my 25 years in this hobby, where I saw something and it's published. I didn't know what it was about. It's not a mainstream comic book. I know nothing about the characters. I know nothing about it. And I wanted to buy it. I wanted to buy the original as soon as I saw it. Check this out. Unfortunately, it was already sold. Check this out. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit.
Oh, you had me going.
Come on, dude. What is that? And for anybody who doesn't know, it's a 3-piece connecting cover for a 3-issue comic book miniseries that if you, again, go down below in the description, in Iranga's section, he's got links, and one of those links is to the Kickstarter for the project where you can get the 3 comics that have these 3 connecting covers. Unfortunately, as I said, you cannot get the original art because even I wanted to buy it, and it's gone. But it's fabulous for last year's Newcomer of the Year. And yeah, I just wanted to really put that out there and show you, Iranga, because you're kicking ass, man. What can I tell you? I really wanted to give you that plug, man.
Oh man, hey, thank you for that's a surprise. I appreciate you, man.
No. It's my pleasure. Like I said, man, you send it to me, and I was like, what the fuck? What? and you know what's, but so you guys all know it's so funny. So he this is how humble Iranga is, right? So he showed me the art, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I gotta buy this. Right away, I thought, I got to buy this. I don't know what it is. I don't even care, but I want to buy this piece. And I say to him something to the effect of like, boy, this is really great. Like, how much is it? And Iranga, the humble guy that he is, he didn't even realize what I was asking. He says to me, he goes, oh, yeah, well, the 3 covers, they're offered together. You can get them for $25. He thought I was talking about the Kickstarter, right? I'm like, what is he talking about? I don't care about the comic. I want the art, right? I'm like, okay, I care about the comic, whatever, but like, I want the art, That's what killed me. I was like, you don't realize I'm talking about the art. You think I'm just talking, hey, we're gonna get the comic book? What? So yeah, so I just wanted you to know, like, I have no memory of ever wanting to buy any piece of art that I knew nothing about, based, solely on how it hit me when it first popped into my right in front of my face, So that's a compliment to you. So
thank you, man. Thank you. That's super kind. I appreciate you doing that, man. Thanks.
No worries. Twice signed means twice. I think he signed it 3 times because it's 3 covers.
Yeah.
Heart. So yeah, it's three times. And No. Nah, unless you can get him back from the grave. You
Yeah.
know, positively negative. Well, you misspelled his name. Come on. It's an E, not an A. That's okay, CJ. I love you because you're always here. And what might take a year, Maki Poo Poo? Hey, Comic Art Boston. Yeah, he knows me. You can bank on that. You can bank on that. That's for sure. Yeah, I ain't BSing nobody. So that's it, guys. So it's 2 hours 45. We have shown all the art and spoken probably way more than most of the people wanted. I thank most of you or all of you who are still here. It's still 24 of you. The rest of you, well, thank you for sticking around as long as you could. With that being said, we're gonna cut it here. But before we go, I want to promo a few things just real quick, if I may. Just on the upcoming shows. So here's the schedule for the next 3 episodes. So next week is, again, most of you won't give a crap about this, but that's the Vintage Paperback Series 1, The Art of Raymond Johnson. That'll be presented by my friend Lowell Wilson, who is in the chat right now. Can't wait to do this with you, Lowell. I'm looking forward to it. Then the week after, so 2 weeks from tonight, is the next Comic Art Show and Sell. That's the art drop. It's not Andrew Hennessy again. This is going to be a 70s to present, typical standard, art drop. So please tune in for that. Here are some of the extra artists I've added to the slide for those of you who have been seeing these over the last 2 weeks that I've been putting out on these shows, plus on Facebook and wherever else, Instagram and what have you. So that's 2 weeks from tonight. So please tune in. That should be a lot of fun. And again, if I can ask, if you haven't subscribed but you've enjoyed whatever content I've been putting out, I would really love that. Really appreciate it, or even a thumbs up. And hit the notification bell. That helps you guys get notified by YouTube whenever I schedule a new show, and it also reminds you whenever a show goes live, right at the minute it goes live, in case you've forgotten. So that's very handy for you guys. And other than that, I guess that's it. But I want to give my 3 guests the opportunity before we go, if I may. Guys, I've already mentioned that, of course. Again, for those of you who may only be coming in now, all the links for all of us are down below. Just click the link in the the description down below the video. Tons of links for all of us, the CAF galleries and everything. Okay, but guys, I'll give you a chance to verbalize anything about those links. For example, Derek, tell us about the podcast you do a little bit, and so whatever
it's all down there. But if you go to fanholespodcast.blogspot.com, there's always a podcast out every week. If you like comic books or anime or Sentai, Tokusatsu, science fiction, we talk about whatever we feel like. It's semi-organized, but we put out what we feel like talking about. So if you like any of those things, check those out. If you like comic books on film, I do a series on YouTube called History of Comics on Film, and that's over on the hocof.blogspot.com. And that's kind of like the chronological history of like film and television and cartoons. I started in the early 40s with all the movie serials, and I'm somewhere in the early 80s right now. So if you like that content, check that out too.
Everyone should totally check that out. It's super well done, really well edited, and funny.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I've tuned in only to a little bit several months ago, and like most people, it's like, oh, geez, I'm trying to catch up with so many things with the different contents, and for me, it's not even just comics. It's like I do a lot of sports watching.
Yeah.
Related stuff on YouTube as well, right? And it's like, oh, but I enjoyed what I did tune into, and so it's just one of those things where, again, it's if I can ever find the time, I got to tune into more of it. But it was fun. So, and that's what it's all about for me, right? It's just finding fun in whatever hobbies I'm in. So hopefully that's what everybody else does. So check all that stuff out. Jabo, I know your calf galleries linked there, even though you only got 2 pieces. And
No,
you've admitted it's funny because you've got like hundreds of pieces, but you're only showing 2 of them.
Well, I know that. And now you fucker, I have to like go through and actually update it.
you gotta love the guy. He blames me now, right? Oh, I'm the problem, right? It's me, yeah. But that's
But
at
what
least
I'll say. Now that it's linked there, I guess I'll start adding pieces just randomly.
Thanks, Caesar. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
and can I just say thanks to everybody that tuned in today? I know we ran long.
Thanks, guys.
It's so much fun, and for interacting with us, etc., etc. Derek and Jabo, you know I love you guys. This was super fun being on with you. Ruben, many thanks for having us on.
Great, man.
It's me who thanks you, believe me.
But also to anyone who's listening or wants to or whatever, you have all our CAF gallery links. Drop us a mail if you want to talk commissions or whatever. I promise you, I would be more than happy to chat your ear off about it.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. All right, guys. Well, I guess this is it. Stick around for a minute. I'm gonna put you back in the green room, and we'll talk a bit there. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Appreciate it. I'm not the one leaving yet. All right. And thanks again to everybody for all, especially those regulars who always keep tuning in to my small, young, burgeoning channel. I really appreciate you. I can't tell you how much. It's not easy for me, as I've said it many times. I've never been a tech guy or whatever, and never been a guy who speaks in front of people either, even though I am an extroverted by personality by nature. But I really do appreciate all of you guys who tune in, and especially the guys who do so and support me on a regular basis. Thank you so much. And for all of you guys and gals who watch on the rewind, which is most of you anyways, really appreciate you guys too. I can't do this without you, and it's the impetus I need to keep going and doing this. It's having fun shows like this and being supported by the people who watch. So thank you so much. That's it. Like I said, tune in next week, maybe for a few minutes at least. Check out what we got going to see what all this vintage paperback art is all about. And for those of you who will not, like I said, be back in 2 weeks for that really fun art drop I'll be doing. Like I said, that's 70s to present, so it's a whole runs the gamut of all the decades from the 70s onward. Tons of different artists, prices probably from like I always try to focus on art for the everyman, not just the rich man. So it'll be pieces ranging probably from like $200 to, I don't know, 10 grand maybe, or I can't remember, but yeah. So there's going to be a lot of stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks again. And yeah, I'll see you either next week or the week after. Thanks. Peace.